Teams representing some of the biggest cities around the world. 72 of the world's most talented poker players with over $350 million in combined lifetime earnings will put everything on the line over 8 months to compete for the title of the first ever GPL World Champions. Which team has what it takes? The Global Poker League starts now.
Hello and welcome to the Global Poker League live on this Wednesday evening. I am Laura Cornelius, joined by the GPL insider Eric Danny. We've watched two already awesome, epic heads-up matches from the Eurasian Conference this evening. There is one more coming up. We're very excited about it, aren't we?
That's right. It's been set up as the main event of the evening, mostly because of yesterday's play. Both Vladimir Troyanovskiy of Moscow and Berlin Bear Dominik Nitsche. They really got at each other twice yesterday, and Troyanovskiy finally having those 7 points in that second match, setting up tonight's epic 3-game grudge match. Let's call it that. Let's go with that.
We watched Nanonoko versus Sam Trickett. That was the Hong Kong Stars v the London Royals a little bit earlier on. Sam Trickett winning that one 2-1. And then after that, we watched another epic. Alex Luno from the Paris Aviators up against Dario Sammartino from the Rome Emperors. And obviously Alex for the Paris Aviators got that one 2-1 as well. Which was your favorite?
Well, I'm a big Luno guy, so I was excited to see him. I like that he came back. He was down 1-0 and came back to win 2-1. But I think Trickett and Nanonoko was really special. Nanonoko nervous, really playing for the people, whereas Sam Trickett was playing for himself and playing for his London Royals. It was kind of a fun match to see, and it was great to see the little banter going on Twitter since, and Trickett promising to buy a mic, so he'll be live on mic next time, so that'll be exciting to see.
The thing is, Trickett is quite an outgoing, gregarious character.
Absolutely.
I don't imagine he has as much experience as Nanonoko, you know, saying stuff on a webcam to millions of people out there, but it will be interesting if he gets his microphone to work to see sort of his input and what he brings. Yeah,
it should be fun. Sam actually has some great stories to tell about some of the craziest action he's seen in Macau, cash games, for example, some $1 million pots and such. So he's always good for a story. Likes to go out, as you said. He's a good guy for that. So it'll be fun to see. Maybe he doesn't talk poker next time. He just talks about the behind the scenes of poker.
Yeah. So. Well, as the English guys say, he's a lad for sure.
He's one of those.
He is indeed. Coming up tomorrow, we've got some great matches as well. It's all about the Americas Conference. So this is what's coming up tomorrow. Our first match is at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central European time. Thiago Nishijima from the Sao Paulo Mets is up against Montreal Nationals' Pascal Lefrancois. Both their debut here in the Global Poker League.
That's right. It's going to be an exciting match. Nishijima and Lefrancois drafted second and third round, if I'm not mistaken. Lefrancois, sort of a controversial pick by Montreal. Most people thought that he was maybe picked a bit too early, but Marc-André Ladisseur stands by his comments and he believes that Lefrancois is one of the top no-limit hold'em players in the world.
Wow. Coming up, this one is one that a lot of people are waiting for. Phil Galfond for San Francisco Rush up against New York rounder Jason Mercier. That one's kicking off 12:30 Pacific time, 2:30 Eastern time, and 3:30 Eastern. We're an hour later. That's what confused me. And 9:30 Central European time. That one's going to be great viewing.
We get advanced notice of who might be playing next week, Laura. And although those aren't made official until Sunday afternoon, we did see last week. We actually teased it on last Thursday's show when we saw Galfond and Mercier on the same list. We knew that match might change, but it was too good to not tease it to the audience. This could end up being the match of the year this early in the season.
And then finally, let's go out with a bang. It's 2ML for the moneymakers up against LA Sunset, Olivier Bousquet. We already saw Olivier play last week, obviously an epic heads-up player, one of the best in the league. That one kicks off at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern, and 12 a.m. Central European time. So a little bit later tomorrow.
Yeah, the 2010 main event winner is going to have his hands very much full tomorrow with Olivier Bousquet, probably one of the top 2 or 3 no-limit heads-up players online.
Indeed. We're going to head straight over to the desk right now to Griffin and to Sam, and let's talk a little bit about this next matchup that's to come.
Thanks for your gregarity, Laura. Great coverage there, Sam. I'm Griffin Medger. Sam Grafton. This is the last match of Day 5 of the Global Poker League. Please check us out at globalpokerleague.com. Follow the conversation at GPL. This match, we got a little preview of it yesterday in one of the 6 max matches. Vladimir Troyanovskiy, the Moscow Wolverine representative, against the Berlin Bear, Dominik Nitsche. They showed us a lot yesterday, and I think this is going to be an awesome match.
Yeah, one of the really exciting things coming into today is we know Dominik Nitsche taking full advantage of the webcam to share his thoughts, to share his strategic insights into his own game, explaining about the hands he plays, the decisions he makes, and his reasons for it. So that's something to look forward to if you're trying to improve your game. Vladimir Troyanovskiy, one of the strongest players on the Moscow Wolverines, obviously won one of the 6 max events yesterday and cut right back at it today, battling again with Dominik Nitsche.
And let's look at his stats here. Obviously from Moscow, a GPR rank, he just squeaks into the top 50, almost 4.2 in live earnings, a lot of results on the tour. What do you think of Vlad as a player?
Yeah, just to remind those guys who perhaps new to the GPL, these are some of the top poker players in the world. If we just, for instance, headline, Troyanovskiy's best result in 2013, second in the 25K high roller, $792,000. So these are both players that have played for enormous sums of money, now competing in the sporting format to get points for the Moscow Wolverines or their particular franchise.
I just noticed that there's a card in the mouth of that Wolverine. That's one of my favorite logos, definitely.
Yeah, congratulations to whoever designed them. Yeah, the Moscow Wolverines putting forward Vladimir Troyanovskiy. And of course, the Berlin Bears, Philip Grusom obviously has a lot of faith in Dominik Nitsche, who, for his young age of 25, has an incredible poker resume.
Yeah, you know, it's a very interesting kind of eclectic roster that Philip Grusom has put together. You know, a controversial figure such as Cyril Mizzi, you know, a celebrity like Bill Perkins. Dominik Nitsche is really the mainstay superstar of this team. You can see his GPI rank of 6, almost $6 million in earnings, 3 bracelets, you know, a lot of close finishes in the European Poker Tour, in high rollers, and of course, the WPT win all the way in Johannesburg, South Africa. This guy is a guy who will go anywhere to play poker, and wherever he goes, he usually wins.
Yeah, and also already in 2016, this kid's got already $500,000 in tournament earnings. So again, we're beginning to take it for granted a few days into the GPL, but it's a real treat that these top players are willing to compete for points and for teams, and it's exciting to see his whole cards. I think we're going to get to the action pretty shortly, actually.
And Vlad deciding to go with a little bit of a darker look here. Have they just changed locations? Are they messing?
I mean, it's such an intimidating presence.
Vladimir
anyway.
is terrifying. The Sith Lord himself, Vladimir Troyanovskiy. This is just Emperor Palpatine shit here. I can't even handle this. Looks like the mic's not working quite yet in this match. An early interesting flop. Bad turn card, obviously, for Dominik Nitsche. Vlad getting the early edge here with the kings up.
Yeah, Dominik's going to feel like he's pretty under-repped. It's not going to... Vladimir Troyanovskiy, as the pre-flop raiser, has more ace-x. So Dominik Nitsche is certainly going to get stubborn here on the turn and then be faced with a river decision.
Really, really tough spot here. You know, it's the kind of situation where I feel like if Vlad bets anywhere between, you know, 2,500 and 3,500, that Dominik will make kind of a snap crying call. And then when he bets anything bigger than, you know, 4,500 chips, Dom's really going to have a think. But it's a bit of a cooler here. A lot of missed draws. Let's see if Dominik can kind of sniff it out and figure this out.
Yeah, it looks like Dom's playing in an office or something. There's someone in the background. Perhaps lives in some kind of poker house. I don't know what we know about Dom's living conditions.
And that's definitely the sizing that's going to throw Dom into the tank. For you lip readers out there, you know exactly what he's saying. So we're going to get that sorted for you as soon as possible.
Иди сюда.
He does opt to make that call. So a rough start for Dom early on, losing 25 big blinds effectively in that pot. It looks like Vlad is accidentally sitting out, which is going to be a problem. He's snap folding the button. I think he's realizing that now that there's an issue. So hopefully he'll sort that out. Snap folding the Jack-8 off on the button. Definitely not in his range of folding the button in the first level, wouldn't you say, Sam?
Yeah, I agree with that. Just to remind people who perhaps didn't catch yesterday's action, these guys coincidentally met each other heads up in the second Eurasia Division 6 max match, battling out for 7 points for their teams. And it was Vladimir Troyanovskiy who got the better of Dom Nitsche in that confrontation. So it is
Dominik, I like that.
yeah, Nitsche.
That's a good nickname.
There is a little bit of history between these guys. They have a sense of how each other play already, and it's going to be interesting to see whether yesterday's game factors into their decision-making process today.
The dominatrix himself, Dominik Nitsche.
What did I?
You called him Dominik, which is
Dominik.
just awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then I took it to a weird, sexual place, because that's what I do with everything.
Can't say too much.
We're going to let Dom take the lead a lot here. He's very insightful and really interesting.
I like checking at the queen high. The other hands I like to bet. This is one of the ones that I like to check. This time. Yeah, and certainly bet. I think it's never a mistake. Yeah. Check. Excellent turn. So hope he doesn't try and bluff me. We just fold here. I probably call him king high, and I have plenty of king highs, and I call it 6 as well. So call the 8-7 offsuit. Call the straight draw. Tiny bet by Vladimir here. Seen him bet tiny with middle pair before. It's a great hand to check raise in general, so might as well throw in a check raise here. It's a pretty good check raise. Anyway, can certainly check call too, but
and the check
both
call
are fine, certainly. It's just that I have a tendency, and as I said, I can't discuss too much how I exploit this, but I think check raising here is fine anyway. So we turn the nuts. Sweet! Turning the nuts. Turning the nuts is always fun. We're going to start by betting. Well, now we technically don't have the nuts anymore, but Queen Jack.
Great river card here for Vladimir, because he's going to be able to get away from this hand for sure.
And I like to just bet here. And I'm going to bet somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000. Yeah, I like this. This is good. I will effectively have the nuts anyway. We only lose to Queen Jack, which I don't think you were called on a turn against my bet. Maybe Queen Jack of clubs. That would be really annoying if we lose to exactly Queen Jack of clubs. But he doesn't have that, so no.
Shows what I know.
To collect the chips.
I think yesterday Dom Nitsche said he had an insight into Troyanovsky's style of play, suggesting that he was a bit more sticky, a bit more stubborn down the streets than some players. I think that was a kind of read Dominik had over Troyanovsky's game, and that proving to be true there on that river.
You know, as much as you're not thrilled by the Bond villain narrative, we have a Bond villain tweet here about the Moscow Wolverines from Kat Arnsby. Big fan of the GPL, seems to be always watching the action. Please, could someone give Vlad a white cat and get him to say, "No, Mr. Nitsche, I expect you to fold." We will look into that and see what we can do.
Checks through. I have a read on Vladimir. Pretty good read. I'm just gonna bet here. Take it down. Nice. No doubt about that. King 4 suited. We're just raised. Curious to know what sort of 3-bet strategy he's employing. Nonetheless, king 4 suited, we're just going to defend. Bad flop for us, we're just done with it.
Again, slightly unconventional 3-betting strategy. I think Troyanovskiy.
Nice hand for that.
Yeah, he's someone that goes a little bit by instinct, a little bit more of a field player than some online regulars.
Once again, a hand I like to sometimes 3-bet. Usually call. So we'll just go the usual to start out the match, and then maybe later mix in a few 3-bets with that kind of hand.
These two would make a great buddy cop film, wouldn't they? Vlad and Domi just
picks like
getting
really
into misadventures.
I think I can call, yeah, plenty of backdoors. I'd call a lot of high cards, so like queen certainly hand I can bluff if it checks through on the turn. I think so. I can like check raise as well if he bets.
A very devilish bet here by Vladimir Troyanovskiy, really pushing the narrative of
check raise
the evil Sith.
I mean, again, it's interesting. This is what I'm talking about. Troyanovskiy, way more of a field player. I think this hand is pretty strong. It's actually hard to get worse hands to fold than Ace-Jack High. I think a lot of players would choose that hand to check back and try and steer to showdown, bluff catch with, or what have you. But Troyanovskiy has slightly different strategy.
Yeah, and I think also, you know, we've seen that Vladimir likes to see a lot of rivers and likes to make a lot of big calls. So it would be interesting to me to see if he would check that back and then make a big ace high call depending on the run out instead of 2-barreling. He opted to 2-barrel just so he could get 3s and 4s to fold, obviously. So different strategies from Vlad. Maybe he thought that it's better to bet. Sorry to talk over Dom here, guys. It would be better to bet so that, you know, because he thinks Dom won't bluff the hands like 5-6 on the river.
On this kind of turn, not much has changed. I personally think we always have the best hand here, pretty much. If we don't, we have nut equity. Bet big here. Thankfully, our jack kicker plays if he has a king, so I'll go big on this turn, and then sort of plans to reevaluate rivers. Certain rivers I'll check, certain rivers I'll bet. With the check raise, I think we got a call in this. Oh, we're kind of unlikely to get check raised here, I think.
Dominik, really fulsome in explaining his strategic thinking down the streets.
Really well.
Wow, what a turn card for Vlad here.
Vladimir checks behind, and I'm just going to keep checking him. We're going to call you.
Disaster for Vlad on the river. Dominik making the 8-high flush. Or I guess the ace-high flush.
Sort of interesting river. I'm just going to check this. And we get there against the queen 3. Yes.
Nice luck.
Well, that's not we're raising some deuce. He's been folding enough.
An absolutely cooler flop here. 2 pair against 3 of a kind.
Bet a bit over 1/3 pot for a straight up value. I expect to get called here quite a bit. I meant to say 40%.
But how many times do you get raised, Dominik? Ba-boom.
Alright, we check raised here. I'm gonna have to defend here. One street and then just like fold if the turn comes something like that. Okay.
Да хватит нажимать не туда. Что же это за идиотизм?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that sentiment, Vladimir.
If you bet we're done with the hand, there's really nothing we can do. Such like a perfect card if he. And the thing is, it's not even a perfect card for him. The thing is, I have so many better hands.
Блин, а почему у них так сделано?
The blinds quickly up to 501,000 here between the Berlin Bears and the Moscow Wolverines. Again, the blind level is just 4 minutes in these heads-up matches.
Bad flop. Okay, Vladimir has been checking like throughout the weekend, so gonna apply pressure. We got shot. Typically the 9 is good for him, but the spade is good for me. Plus, I know he's been betting middle pair on the turn, on the flop quite often. So I'm going to start by betting big. And okay, just start.
And there you can see
Right.
the strategy of checking back second pair to induce bluffs, working out perfectly for Vladimir Troyanovskiy. That's something that we'll see quite commonly in these heads-up matches. Dom obviously arriving at the river with pretty much bottom of his range and a spade in his hand, electing to bluff. Quite understandable, but switches the momentum a little bit back in Troyanovskiy's direction. And again, a slightly unorthodox hand to choose to 3-bet. But Vladimir now with a bit of a commanding chip lead in this match.
I actually just call it with that stack size.
Nice little start here for the Wolverine rep.
Great turn.
Great turn. Great turn.
Yeah.
Vladimir is one of his small turn leads. Since we absolutely smashed the turn and we have plenty of draws in our range, like weak turned hearts, we can opt for a raise here with our A7. Can certainly call as well. I guess the really tiny turn, but I just prefer a raise. You know, he has so many draws in his range. We want to charge his draws and get some value from a lot of his holdings.
Dominik there doing a great job of breaking down his reasons for that turn raise, and pretty frustrating river card for him now.
Interesting river card here. This is sort of a weird spot again. You can certainly like play Jack X of hearts that way, 6 X of hearts that way, so I don't think there's too much value. Plus, if he has an 8, he's not calling anyway. The only question is he calling with a 10? And I'm not sure about that. Typically a good board for him, not really for me.
Turning a lot of trips in this match so far is Dominik Nitsche.
Yeah.
Can go 2 ways here. I'm just gonna bet it this time. Fent.
Real treat at the GPL for big Dominik Nitsche fans, hey? Back-to-back days. I mean, if he's your poker hero, we're providing, hey?
Absolutely.
Or indeed Vladimir Troyanovskiy.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of Vlad fans out there.
I feel like there's some Vov
Yeah,
Troy. Like, to be
I've been
honest,
always I've been a big Vov Troy guy. I got really
Since day
drunk
one.
once at EPT. I think it was Malta. Actually, it was Malta. Yeah, a few years ago, and I was just trying to get him to smile. We were just playing this 1K or 2K or something, and I just was like asking him so many questions. He was telling me great little anecdotes. It's one of those things where I would dominate the conversation like 90% of the time, and then 10% he would just like tell me a great little bit.
Yeah, and it'd be doubly as funny as your 90%.
Oh my God! Like, yeah, it's not even close. I'm a volume guy. He's more of like a quality guy.
Yeah, I agree. I really respect the guys that,
Can I take this
like,
one down?
people like you and me, we're always trying to ingratiate ourselves and make friends on the tour. And like someone like Vov Troy, he don't care about making mates. He is just sat there.
No.
He don't want to chat. He don't want to have no laughs or beers. He's there to make some money. And
And second,
I respect that.
Golden
Play
as well.
poker and play Hearthstone on my iPad. This is what he does.
He plays
Hearthstone. Yeah, 42-year-old man.
Sick.
I like the game. It's
Premium raising hand. And we'll be going all in against the 3-bet, which doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Comes king 3-3.
See, I've got the lights on. I've got some music playing when I'm.
I will just.
Vov Troy's just sat in the dark. You know,
Yeah.
he's sat in a cave, just hatching plans on how to like
Yeah.
bash up the poker world and make points for the
It'd be a great.
Wolverines.
It would be a great theme if that was like the requirements of Anatoly Filatov. It's just like every single one of you has to just play in the dark.
You weren't
Just-
focused enough. Turn the
yeah,
lights off. No
yeah,
distractions.
exactly.
Whereas Dominik you see, Dominik's in like some office with some other wizard.
I
It's like a
could've
little
figured
wizard's
that out.
office.
I
They
just
get
can't
together.
call immediately.
They run PO Solver
Yeah.
and Hold'em resources, and you know, it's a different kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, a scientist against an assassin kind of thing. You know, it's like they're in the lab. He's just, you know,
turn for me.
plotting his how he's gonna take a Dom out.
Yeah, when you're Vov Troy, you don't need a lab.
That's gonna be your line, eh? It's gonna be your motto. Looks like Vlad might be typing out a raise here.
Doesn't rep much,
All right.
but there's not much Dominik Nitsche could do about it with his particular holding.
Plan is to raise, and if we get 3-bet, we just chip it.
Doesn't get much pretty. I mean, didn't you get little like?
By the way, I'm
you know?
surprised that you see he doesn't even. We actually react. We're so
Yeah.
excited, and it's not our hand. But Vov Troy flops the straight and flush draw, doesn't move a muscle. Let's go big, Vladimir. Let's go big here. Oof.
Yeah, unfortunate flop for the
Vladimir
jacking
likes to
off,
bet big
and
short on
obviously
hands, which makes this
Vlad with the nuts.
kind of interesting. I'm just gonna fold because I see him bet like at 5 there quite often, so I'll just fold it.
Dom getting a bit shallow here, just over 20 big blinds. Vlad playing about 40.
Right, folding like bottom 10%, like this one, very very much bottom. I'll start this out with a limp here.
Really interesting to see how wide Vlad will Peelman raises. I mean, he wants to see a
Pretty
flop
good
with
flop
any
here.
two cards. He really
I'll start
trusts
this off with a small bet.
his post-flop ability and his hand reading.
Yeah, and just to draw your attention, if you've been following the GPL a lot, limping is a very common part of these guys' strategies. Obviously, a few years ago, that was a very, I guess, unfashionable thing to do. Most people's
You can call
strategies
here.
involved always raising from the button, but people
Most
have
likely going
adapted
to
their
check
strategies.
call as
That's
well.
something we're going to see a lot of.
And the plan is to check the turn, and if he checks behind, we get a pretty good value bet on the river. If he bets here, we're going to call, and then sort of in a nightmare spot on the turn. I said out value bet the river. Obviously, I was assuming the river is not going to be a 10 jack or queen, so we're just going to check here. And if he bets, this is really annoying, but I'm just.
Interesting to see this kind of line, not bluffing the
bets,
flop,
it's annoying.
not
It's pretty
bluffing
cool.
the
I
turn,
fold.
waiting till the river to bet his jack 5 off. You can see the very subtle and nuanced strategies these great poker minds deploy.
Jack 10 starts off by calling. Almost always a call for me at this deck. That dream flop. Absolutely nothing else to do but just bet. Can get some action here. Vladimir calls.
Things getting better on the turn for Dominik Nitsche.
The last time I saw a full house like this with
Pretty
Jack 10,
dream
it was
spot on
Jungle
the
Man.
turn here. We want to bet. We want to bet it for
But
sure.
aces are not in Vlad's range
I'm
here.
kind of thinking like 4,500 here. Quick fold. And this hand I can see going into a lot of ways. I'm just going to check it this time. I'm going to defend my queen high here.
And Vladimir, big turn card, outdrawing Dominik Nitsche. Makes this hand so much easier to play for Troyanovskiy. Oh, and action on every street. The equities
Pretty dreamy river for us.
switching back and forth.
I'm just going to bet it big. Looks like I'm sort of attacking his weak range, so he might make a hero call here. If he has something to hero call with.
Excellent fold from Troyanovskiy. So Dominik Nitsche has already identified that Vladimir is something of a sticky player, but Troyanovskiy, perhaps making an adjustment, laying it down to that big bet, shows his class.
Yeah, and he's so quick with his decisions because he's really seen all these scenarios,
Another one of these
millions of
either
times
way,
before. This is a guy who's cut his teeth at the biggest cash games all around the world, specifically obviously in Russia. A ton of experience, has seen a lot of these situations a million times before, and he's just he's obviously he knows what he's going to do. We talk about that hand yesterday against Dong Guo where he had pocket queens on a 2-jack board. He called 2 streets, and then when he faced that river bet, he snap folded. He really is an incredibly intelligent player.
I'm going to call you because I think he's quite high card heavy. And on certain boards, I'll have the advantage.
Yeah, strange sizing from Vladimir here, though.
Like this typically should be a board where I have the advantage. And Vladimir decides to check. And for me, it's now between a small bet and a check, and I'm going to check.
Yeah, that small raise size from Troyanovskiy, getting himself in a bit of a pickle. If Dominik isn't willing to fold a hand as weak as 6-8 off to that raise, I think it's pretty poor choice to inflate the pot with the Jack-4 off.
We're going to defend here with our middle pair in a gut shot. And we river the absolute dream card. And that's a really sweet situation because well, we have the effective nuts, except for against Jack 8, which would be a really bizarre race by him in that spot. Completely inconsistent with his style. And he's going to think, how many 8s do I really have? And this is a spot where, theoretically, I can just overbet all in because there's a lot of hands I can turn into a bluff. And it's really hard for him to have a straight. So I have the nuts. And this is actually a pretty dream situation. So, just like a pretty great spot to overbet all in. We'll just think for a little bit and then we're all in.
Bluff.
And it's like, get a quick fold. So you probably just said nothing. The aim of this bet is to force him to hero call.
And Dominik right back in it. The stacks almost dead even again now, Griff.
Yeah, always fun to watch
as
these
I've
two
previously discussed, once we get short stack, I would like to sometimes include that in my 3-betting range. Vladimir has been kind of solid against my 3-bets earlier, so we'll just make it 11,000. Every once in a while you can 3-bet that. I just decided this time, this would be the time. These are the hands I'm using this match. Don't know why. Decided that. I decided that before I started playing, that those would be the hands. So, gotta execute.
Really interesting. Dominik suggesting that he sort of randomizes the hands he uses to construct his bluffing range in these heads-up matches. And with his hold cards on display, that's going to be a strategy. It'll be interesting to see if more players deploy, not wanting to give away too much information about their ranges. Really shows the level that poker has advanced to in 2016.
Certainly make a case for just straight up going all in. And I'm just gonna opt to call this time.
A great tweet here from Sean Lightbone.
Troyanovskiy
I just playing from his island-based evil lair, I take it.
Heads of certain goes, like, decisions are sometimes just like really close, and you can't say which one's better. So I'm just gonna sometimes I'll do one, sometimes I'll do the other. Yeah. And this is a spot where I like to take the initiative with my whole range, simply because Vladimir shouldn't have a lot of force. And I was going to check here.
Really interesting spot, because if Dominik had gone all in, Troyanovskiy would have been in a terrible spot. If Troyanovskiy, and this is going to be just an easy call for Dom. Just looking to get value from his kings.
Call you. I would chop it up.
Sick.
I like to raise this. All right.
Dominik considering attacking this limp.
Check it here. I'll throw in a check raise here.
It's not going to work.
Small check raise.
You think with the stack depth that flat is more inclined to shove or flat here?
He's just calling here.
Plus I have
we're only 15 big ones effective. Don't you think you should protect sometimes, or?
There's no need to shove. There's no need to shove.
Call. Turn is absolutely awful. We'll check pretty quickly, I think.
So you can see Dominik not just going to war on every turn card. Had he turned a 5 perhaps, an 8 or a club, he might have fired again.
And like here, we're just done. I just try to take a cheap stab at the pot.
Yeah, there you go, explaining his strategy, and it should go check, and Troyanovskiy with the win. There you can see, of course, the 9-7. He could have just spiked a 9 or 7 to outdraw Troyanovskiy. Pretty good hand to pick to check raise with.
Two options here, raise and all in. I'm going to go with this one this time. Can certainly just limp.
Certainly an option.
I might start more raises instead of limps here. Just sort of see how this works out. 20 big blind deep. Easy call. I expect Vladimir to just continuation bet here, like all the time. 8 side boards, he's raised before the flop. Expect a lot of continuation bets. Quick check.
Interesting if Vlad goes for value on the turn or checks back. Looks like he's going to bet with the nut 9.
Go with fold here. Quick fold.
Wow, wow, so sharp, Dom Nitsche.
Both of them.
Fantastic stuff. If
Should
you've
see a
just joined
shove
us,
or a raise
this
here
is
for
some
Vlad.
high-level poker. Match 1 of 3 between Dominik Nitsche of the Berlin Bears and Vladimir Troyanovskiy of the Moscow Wolverines. Dominik, a German himself, representing the Berlin Bears, and Vladimir from Russia.
I just checked this. That's a very, very much awesome flop for our hand. And I've been check raising him so often that I'm going to check raise here again, and I'll make it a little bit.
This is what's difficult about c-betting. Every time you make a pair, you can get put in a really tough spot with your weak second and third pair. It's great to bet them for value, but now a bit of a nightmare scenario facing a check raise with this 6-3 off.
I'm just going to go all in here. That's quick fold.
Stacks evening out here. Playing a lot of levels here in this match. 2 minutes from now, it'll be up to 3,200.
2 ways to play this again. I'm going to go with limp this time.
Bad flop for Vlad. He will obviously at least be seeing a turn card with the second pair, which is no good against the 9s of Dom. Disastrous turn, but a check back here from Dom is certainly in the realm of possibility, and then looking to get value from his 7 on the river.
Flop decides to bet. We're just going to call. And it's a pretty bad card for us. We check and hopefully beat a 7, yeah. Good stuff. Uh, 5-3 offsuit here. It's a call in my opinion.
You can see Dominik defending a lot wider than some players. We saw Sam Trickett folding pretty easily, like a lot stronger hands than 3-5 off. Dominik, someone who does like to take his pot odds.
But definitely evolved Troy's flop there, not just because he's the aggressor, but because he had a 9 high flush draw.
I'm just opting a call. Gonna bet this board when you check stars. Okay, quick fold.
A cheeky little lead from Troyanovskiy. Slightly unusual, but very effective.
Checking off here for Vlad.
And this is just one of these hands I like to go all in with against the limp. Oops. Bad.
Dominik gonna. Wow.
Oh,
how'd you flop him dead?
Dom.
And
Vlad loves it. That worked out.
Just 3 points.
GG Dominik Nitsche. Fantastic result. Vladimir Troyanovskiy securing another 3 points for the Moscow Wolverines. Great heads-up match. And again, Dominik sharing so much of his strategic advice with us. Really, really insightful.
Hey guys, that was match 1 between Dominik Nitsche and the enigmatic Vladimir Troyanovskiy with his evil lair background for the Moscow Wolverines. Great last hand there, limp calling the King Jack. Just goes to show the way these people know their ranges, knowing that he was trapping there with the really, really strong blocker type hand, calling it off, getting the drawing dead flop. The cute little comment, love watching Vlad play.
Yeah, fantastic. Vladimir Troyanovskiy didn't talk to us too much there throughout the match, but showing a bit of personality at the end, showing how much he cares about the GPL and the Moscow Wolverines. Someone that's already competed in the GPI World Cup for Team Russia and now proud to represent the Moscow Wolverines.
Yeah, but don't lose the credit for Dominik. I mean, we saw the way he played yesterday. That was an extremely long match, and they played pretty fast. It's really interesting to watch Dom kind of break it down. I think he really does feel comfortable, just like letting the fans in on his sort of knowledge base and very sort of like training video style. We're seeing different styles of those that get the opportunity to be on the webcam. For Dom, he likes to talk his thought process through. He likes to help people understand why he's doing the things he's doing. Vlad, more of the just sort of like enjoy himself and then every once in a while make a funny little comment. Differing styles, really fun to watch, and a big 3 points early on here for the Moscow Wolverines, a really, really strong team in the Eurasia division.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Troyanovskiy defeated Nitsche yesterday in the 6-max match, heads up, gaining 2 extra points for the Moscow Wolverines, and this is the second time he's going to have bragging rights over Dominik Nitsche. So Nitsche will be looking to come back strong in the second match and prevent the sweep for the Berlin Bears.
Yeah, and he's really been the star for the Berlin Bears early in the season, as we've talked about. Really showed up yesterday in the 6-max matches. Obviously, Jungle Man had a little trouble last week with the 2 donuts in the 6-max, losing 2 of 3 to Elke. So they really needed Dom to come out strong the last 2 days. He's done that, but he is down 1 match against Vov Troy, and it's going to be super hard to get more than 3 points over the next 2 games. But if anyone can do it, it's definitely Dom, and I'm really excited to hear more of his insight. It's really cool where we get to see the cards, and he's talking about the ranges, and he's just so correct and so accurate, and it makes you realize this is why he has 3 World Series of Poker bracelets, why he has a WPT title. Just a phenomenal player.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're now going to go over and join Eric Denis and Laura Cornelius, who are going to tell us where that win for Troyanovskiy leaves us in the standings.
Well, that was our last matchup of the day. Match 1 is complete. Vladimir Troyanovskiy, 3 points to you, but 2 more games in the matchup to come. Now, we saw Troyanovskiy win the 6-max against Nitsche heads up last night as well. So Nitsche's probably squirming in his seat now, really, really wanting that next win.
Yeah, that's 2 in a row for Vlad over Dominik, and it's great for the Moscow Wolverines to now move up a position. They're now in 5th place. Berlin, a familiar 6th place right now. They're going to be back in that same spot if they can't win the next 2 matches. So really some pressure on Berlin. Dominik has played so well this week, but they could still land in last place if they don't win the next 2 matches. So if they only win 1, it's still not good enough. So Dominik is going to have to win both of these next matches in order for Berlin to not be at the bottom of the basement for another week. It's quite surprising given the fact that Dominik had such a great performance yesterday.
Now, we talked about Dominik being the points guy of the gang. Let's hope he does manage to sort of salvage some points, because it would be a shame to see him not do that.
Right. Obviously, heads up, it's a bit more different because you're either going to finish 1st or 2nd, so it's a little different there. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the next one. I'd be shocked if Vladimir sweeps it, and it's not a knock on Vladimir. It's just that they're so evenly matched, these 2 players. I'll be very surprised but if he does, if Vladimir Troyanovskiy can win all 3, then suddenly Moscow is in great position, and Berlin would be really far away back in the pack. And what do you do next week? You have to play your players, so you can't just wheel out Dominik Nitsche each week. You'll need to see Sorel Mitzi. Brian Rast has yet to play. So really big name players have not played for Berlin yet. So still early. The strategy for Philipp Grusom has been to play 1 single player for the whole week. We'll see if that continues, and if it does, then I'm sure we'll see another star Berlin Bear next week.
Dominik's been one of the players as well that has been particularly vocal on his webcam, which is nice to see. I mean, we're really getting into the insides of his brain. And also with Randy Liu as well, he does the same. Not so much as some of the others that we've seen, obviously like Troyanovskiy, obviously like Sam Trickett. But it's nice actually to have the difference between them, and because if they were both the same, we wouldn't actually be able to hear anything that anyone was saying.
You know what's curious is that every single Berlin Bear is going to be great on camera. We saw Jungle Man last week. There's Jeff Gross yet to play. Bill Perkins. You know, it's a good mix. Sorel Mitzi, Brian Rast. They're all teachers. They all love to to have fun, all love to talk. So I don't know if that was a coincidence or if Gruesome, they're just friends with Gruesome and he knows how outgoing they are. But we're really going to see every single week, every time we see a Berlin Bear on air, I think we're always going to see them being very chatty, very talkative, and informing the audience. So that'll be curious. I mean, every single one of that players on that roster, I think everyone will want to see. I think people will want to see Bill Perkins and see what he's got up his sleeve. Jeff Gross, who has a very popular Twitch channel, it'll be interesting to see him. Sorrel and Brian, of course, they like to box it in the ring, and now they're best friends on hopefully a top-ranked team at the end of the year.
Lots of exciting stuff still to come. As we say, the Berlin Bears, definitely one of my favourite teams, I think, in terms of the players in that team. Different, charismatic type of guys. Right, we're going to head back over to the desk now to Griffin and to Sam and prepare for the second match of the Berlin Bears versus the Wolverines.
Thanks, Corny. Thanks, Danny. We're here. I'm Griffin Benger. This is Sam Grafton. This is the last two matches of the night. Vladimir Troyanovskiy of the Moscow Wolverines, the Berlin Bears representative Dominik Nitsche. We saw these guys play a little against each other yesterday. You know, different styles, but both extremely talented multi-table tournament players. But today, just one table, heads up, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things that's made it so fun is Dominik Nitsche, as Laura was saying, sharing so much of his thoughts. I mean, if you're new to poker or only a casual fan, you know, the reputation poker players have of lazy guys who just show up and play cards. That's not the case with Dominik Nitsche. He spent literally hundreds of hours away from the table working on his ranges, working on his strategies. He's giving us insight to that, and that's what makes this match so exhilarating for me.
Yeah, and very evident also that Vladimir Troyanovskiy obviously spending his entire day working on his evil plans to take over the world, and you know, that's very evident with the evil Lara in the background.
And strong flop immediately for Troyanovskiy, even though technically Nitsche does have the stronger holding. Be interesting to see if Vladimir turns his hand into a bluff on this turn card, or just checks back and tries to steer it to showdown, or you know, realizes that.
I think, yeah, he's always going to be betting, but it's you know, always, we can't say always in poker, but you know, obviously it's going to work a lot of the time. Get him to full better fives, you know, the 7-9s.
Get him to fold like hands like Jack 5, hey?
Yeah, exactly like Jack 5.
Griffin Benger, that's why they pay him the big bucks.
The biggest, more than you, thank God.
All right, we're going to start with a race.
Boyan Poker tweeted in, I hope people realize just how entertaining Dominik Nitsche is. Vovtroy is a silent killer, though. Hashtag GPL. I think we concur with those thoughts, Boyan.
Great turn for us.
Love to see an overbet here from Troyanovskiy. Nitsche really doesn't have too many flushes when he checks back this board. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Cold deck here at the GPL on this particular hand. Kings and threes everywhere. Both excited to be.
Well, when Troyanovskiy bets, Dominik's presumably.
Okay, this is actually just very awesome.
Yeah.
And do you think this is a race that's always going to be shoved on by Vlad, or
bets?
No,
now we're just going to raise pretty big.
I mean, when Dom raises, he's just going to call. I mean,
that much.
I presume he can't really beat anything. Like when he full bets all in, he can't really get called by worse. But
except deuce is full, but that's even knows it's behind. It's a really interesting hand, obviously.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Very rare. You obviously get this situation where
I can't wait to see Vlad's reaction when he gets raised here.
Yeah. Oh dear, Troyanovskiy.
I wonder, you have big flush or maybe pocket ace, ace 3?
Yeah, I mean, Troyanovskiy doesn't really beat much.
Hope he has a flush.
I mean, Dom doesn't raise a flush here, so.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Amazing that you can make such a massive hand here and not feel good about your options.
Oh, the same hand. That's disappointing.
So sick.
That's very disappointing.
Hashtag so sick.
So sick. Can you do an L key as well? I know you do have a good love, Troy.
So sick.
You could do
That's
great
nice.
impressions as long as it's just 2 words.
Yes, it's so sick.
Alright, we're gonna bet.
I don't know about you, but Vladimir Troyanovski's got the best smile in the GPL, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, one of the things in poker is so much
And
attention
fold.
just goes to the same people. People like yourself, Shark Cage winners, obviously draw the media attention. But there are so many great characters in the poker world that the fans don't necessarily know about.
Yeah.
One of the exciting things about GPL is we're going to get an insight into, the lives and minds of some of those guys. And Vovchoy is really one of those.
And
Yeah, and I mean,
since he
that's
has
a great
been
thing
betting
of
a lot of weekends, especially for small sizing, we're gonna smash in a check raise here.
and that's a great thing about the webcam. You do get to sort of see, a little insight into the life. We talked about, obviously, Sam Trickett, seeing the dogs and, the beautiful fiance. And with, Vladimir, you just see just pure darkness.
Yeah, and Dominik seeing the little wizard's den.
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't be. I think it's pretty professional stuff to go to an office and play with other poker players. I know that is a strategy that people more professional than ourselves do adopt.
Yeah, and I mean, if you guys have ever wondered what, what Dumbledore would look like in his, mid-20s, Dominik Nitsche is a perfect example of that.
Plenty of backdoor straight draw.
And Troyanovskiy not going to be folding bottom pair to 1 bet.
Not going to be folding what? Which hand? What does he have? Simple jack.
And this is probably going to be a turn that Dom will look to barrel. You can see he has that gut shot, a 9 for a straight, and a heart
Pretty
in his
good
hand.
turn for us.
Yeah. Putting a lot of pressure on exactly these type of hands in Troyanovskiy's range. You can see here, Jack Deuce. It's pretty unappetizing to face a 3,000 chip bet with such a weak holding.
Some rare flattery on Twitter from Abraham Jacobson saying that Squid Poker balances perfectly with his stoned aloofness. So I really appreciate you being, so out of it.
So stoned and
so
aloof.
stoned and so aloof.
Yeah. Believe me,
really got
Avram,
shot
if you had to
back
spend
flush draw.
a
Oh,
day
thank you.
with Griffin Banger, you'd be acting stoned as well.
And when it checks through, well,
Our call time today was
Try and
4:20,
step
to be
it up.
fair.
we don't need to bet too much here. Just like a medium-sized bet should do fine.
You could see it, hear in Tom's voice, he knows this isn't game 3. He knows he's got to bluff, but he knows it's so unlikely that Vladimir takes this line and just gives it up.
Nice hand flat.
Yeah,
I love it when Vlad wins hands.
yeah, real sporting, nature. Dominik, obviously, knows the game, played with Vovchoy many times. He's taking it seriously, but also in great spirits as well.
Yeah, I mean, we can joke about, the pitch black background, but the ironic thing about it really is that he's just such a goofball, and he just has such a great inner child that we get to see sort of on camera. Again, he's in his early 40s, and yet he plays the game and loves the game like a little kid. So it's just this great sort of like contradicting qualities that Vladimir Troyanovskiy has, and just a great personality for the league, and I'm so glad that he's a part of it. Gin for Dominik on the turn here as Vladimir elected to overbet the flop with the 9-5, the open-ended straight draw.
Great turn, yeah.
Dom clearly listening to me.
Yeah. Such insight from
Yeah,
you.
I mean,
You knew it was a great turn already.
SCC, baby. Shark Case champion.
And obviously, if Dominik knew what Troyanovskiy had, he would be checking.
But since only we get to see the cards, he will be betting.
Yeah, and not much Vlad can do. You wouldn't imagine, although takes his time.
I think he is 6'7", like Ghoul. I'd love to see a 9 high. I'm sure we're gonna get some crazy calls this year.
For
What do you think's the worst hand that's gonna be a good river call in this
The race
GPL
is up.
season 1? Let's make it a prediction.
10 high.
10 high? Okay. I'll go with Jack.
Okay.
Okay. That's so the line is I took the over.
Check the king high.
So far, the lightest river call we have seen through the heads-up matches, the quick king high call, obviously just check to the river by Sam Trickett, but it was nice to get sort of introduced to the legend Tricky himself with that brilliant hand that we replayed at the request, as per the request of Sam Squid.
So just to remind you guys,
That's one of the few ones I'd fold.
this is the Global Poker League. You can see in the bottom of your corner, Vladimir Troyanovskiy won the first game, securing 3 points for the Moscow Wolverines. Dominik Nitsche of the Berlin Bears
Fold as well.
lost that match, but we have 2 more matches between these 2 great characters. 2 players familiar to anyone who follows the EPT circuit, the high rollers and super high rollers. Dominik Nitsche also being very generous in giving us big chunks of strategy
Stop raising.
and insight into his poker thought process.
That's the raise. I'm mostly going to check here, so I'll check.
Little something for everyone on this turn. 2 overs and a gut shot for Vlad.
All right, I'm just going to call.
Kind of a difficult card for Vlad to represent here.
Yeah, he's going to be a little bit more polarized in his betting range on this river. He can definitely bet a 3, a 4, or 6 on the river. Would he bet those for value? Sorry, on the turn he can bet a 3, 4, or 6.
That's annoying.
But not going to bet him on
Tough
this
spot
river.
now here for Dominik Nitsche.
Nietzsche,
That's
like
annoying.
the philosopher apparently.
That could be his nickname, the philosopher. Let's go with that. You want to run with that?
The Ubermensch. It's a nice pot there for Troyanovskiy.
Calling.
You know, what's really interesting, now that we've seen, this is now the 3rd time that we've seen these 2 heads up. It's going to be 4 by the end of the day. It's really going to be interesting to see over the course of the first season.
No reason to bet here. If the turn checks through, I'm going to consider throwing in a value bet on the river.
Seeing how the schedule really kind of can create these rivalries. And that's the great thing about, you know, sports, individual sports, team-based sports, these rivalries that are going to grow.
1800 should do just fine here.
Right here, the German against the Russian.
I think he would bet most of his queens on the turn. So
the Germans versus the Russians, and it's kind of a fun storyline to play around with. We're going to see a lot of that.
For sure. Troyanovskiy paying off very light and nice pot for Dominik Nitsche.
He's not a believer.
And yeah, of course. And we saw,
I think he
you know,
well, if I got lucky there, he had a weaker 10 or a river at 7. It's nice.
a little bit of rivalry between Randy Lou and Sam Trickett developing after a little bit of needle after the match on Twitter. So yeah, it will be interesting to see
Most likely checking on Queen Jack.
develops.
Vladimir defending pre-flop here with the 69, the giggity.
Most likely checking again. Definitely checking again. What am I saying? And it's the same kind of like situation as last time where if he checks, I'm gonna be very interested in betting. And if he bets, then I guess I gotta call because he has so many hands that like just missed. And I cannot fold a jack. Yeah, that bet is really thin. I'm not that much of a calling station, guys. You know, I'm a little bit of a calling station.
Dom getting a lot of dominated hands right now.
Yeah, they've just
Strong draw for Troyanovskiy.
I just folded.
Four to a straight and a backdoor flush. And Dom snap folding with a queen of hearts. I mean, he knows these spots better than I do, but pretty solid fold.
I just
Wrong spot here for Dom. We're going to see a 3-bet from Vlad to 5-6-6-6. Come on, come on, come
Griffin
on, come
Benga
on.
making the big calls here at the GPL.
Come on, Vlad.
There you go, mate. You're old school, mate. The game's moved on,
Really bad
bruv.
hand.
No,
The
but
game has moved on.
yeah.
People are going bigger than 3x these days.
Okay,
It's not
okay.
like the days when you ruled the internet, bruv.
Okay. All right. I accept your terms, man.
You need
Come
to
on.
do a little
One of the
quick
few
poker
hands we just
snowy
fold
work.
each
Don't
other
bust
nice.
my balls. It's been a long day, all right?
I'm gonna raise the 10-8. Well, that one's always a call for me.
Action-packed flop here. A little something for both.
I'm most likely gonna do a check call here.
Well, I mean, this is a pretty strong holding heads up. Top pair, top kicker. More than a little something for Troyanovskiy.
Kind of, his big bets are probably a bit stronger, but nonetheless, I don't think I can fold just yet.
I mean, great read from Dominik Nitsche, recognizing that sizing is actually a little bit of a tell. I mean, so astute, this kid. You wouldn't want to be voluntarily playing him for money, that's a fact.
Yeah, that's why we call him the philosopher here at the Global Poker League. Dominik Nitsche, showing his worth.
And we check this, and hopefully we're good. Hopefully we don't have to face a bet because we can't face a bet. Yeah, I think I might be right, or we're just.
Don't give it away, Dominic. Keep it to yourself, mate. He's going to hear in 10 minutes.
Both with some suited hands here. Vlad with the jacking on.
Do you think he was writing down a note to remind himself, or no?
Might have been, yeah.
I guess he can remember. This match is going to last a while, but interesting.
Or maybe he was messaging one of us asking what he has in his head. Not a good run out for the beautiful King Jack of Diamonds for Vladimir Troyanovskiy here.
Let's keep checking.
Seems so unreasonable when Jack King of Diamonds doesn't win the hand.
Yeah, I know. That's a hand I go to the felt with. King Jack suited. Wow, beautiful holdings here at the 1K level. It will be going up to 612 after this hand. Again, we have 100,000 chips in play, guys.
Interesting board here again. Gonna be looking to continue to the turn, most likely against the small bet. That bet is so tiny that we're happily calling. And I'm gonna try and, if I bet here, like, I'm only folding out ace highs, which is a problem. I can also fold out a 3.
Queen of Hearts Paris on Twitch remarks, okay, I know it's irrelevant, but Vlad is hot. Looks like Taylor Kenny is
I think we
fire.
can check here and be good plenty of times. I think he would have bet a queen on the turn, so I could only really lose to ace high. I don't think he's going to bluff here. Oh yeah.
Dominik Nitsche, with such a strong read on Troyanovskiy's tendencies, confident to not turn king high into a bluff, confident that if Troyanovskiy had a worse hand, he would still check it down. Real poker talent on display, Dominik Nitsche of the Berlin Bears.
And again, you've been talking about those linear 3-bets. Obviously, this is a hand you don't want to ever have to fold pre-flop. But again, Vlad just thinks Dom may be opening too much, willing to call a 4-bet. So interesting strategy. The different sort of pre-flop strategies that some of these players would adopt.
I mean, I would go out on a limb and say Troyanovskiy doesn't even have a pre-flop strategy. He just basically goes with his instinct, and he's sort of following the pattern of the play or something sort of quite nebulous and not nailed down. Whereas Dominik Nitsche is a student of the game and
great
really
contrasting style.
has
It's
a
really
game
fun
plan.
to watch,
he just felt that he wanted to 3-bet that at a time. And that would be my tentative conclusion anyway about these, as you say, contrasting styles.
Yes, us Wolverines, we are fear players.
Just check here.
J3233 remarks, that smile is so cute and frightening at the same
I'll
time.
keep checking, yeah.
Obviously referring to the enigmatic and cerebral Vladimir Troyanovskiy.
I wonder if Vladimir can pull out. No, he's just going to give it up. Actually, like to think he can pull out a big bet there on that river with this part of his range, but not to be.
I was just told that Vladimir Troyanovskiy is actually not Vlad. They're completely two different names, so you're not actually supposed to call him Vlad.
My
Just
apologies
Vladimir.
there. Obviously,
Yeah.
not too
Interesting
familiar.
though. I didn't know that. Of course.
Yeah, not too familiar with Russian culture and history. I will try and avoid that. Vladimir, interesting that he elected to check back this very, very strong draw. It's going to have a lot of deception if he were to hit 6 or jack. But now in a not enviable position, facing a big bet from Dominik.
That's a pretty fun spot to bluff. And bluffing it I will. After a little bit of deliberation. Hard for him to have a flush. Doesn't have a straight.
Is this the 10 high call?
Go on, Vlad.
Come on.
Go on, Vladimir.
I gave you the whole season. Imagine he does it now.
Like maybe he has like the river king of diamonds, like he has like king something, one diamond.
Please, Vlad, just do it.
You gotta make
Vladimir.
we can pay.
We've just both done it.
But I don't have it, so I'm just bluffing.
Ah.
Bang.
Can't believe you didn't call there. Like.
He beat 6-4, 8-4,
Yeah,
3-4. So many 4x. This is the second of 3 matches. You can see the tick mark next to Vladimir Troyanovskiy's picture and the picture of the Moscow Wolverines. He won the first match, also defeated Dominik yesterday in the 6-max match. Heads up.
Can certainly
more
bet.
points.
Can certainly check too. You don't need to bet everything all the time. Sometimes you can just check here as well, I think. I'm just very happy taking the queen to showdown if he lets me.
And Vladimir probably going to go for some value here on the river.
A great comment here by Unknown Genius. The only 2 Russian words
Pretty
I know
good bet.
are Vladimir and Troyanovskiy. It's really the only ones you need to know here at the GPL, at least so far with the representatives for the Moscow Wolverines. It's been all coming up Vlad, Emir.
Very evenly matched opponents, it would seem.
Hey, keep it down back there.
Of course, I speculated it was another poker player. Could be Dominik's girlfriend or partner. I don't really know.
Does she play? Oh, you mean it just...
I just
good turn for us.
That person walking around in the background, I don't really know.
Vladimir with the Quevin. Not really know what to do. Looks probably going to be another check back. Thinking he has the best hand some of the time. It looks like he is going to elect to put out a bet, though.
Wouldn't really like to face a bet here, to be completely honest. Really.
Well, there you go.
Seems a strange choice, given that he's got flush draws he could barrel, 6x he could barrel, 4x he could barrel, and such like. This seems pretty far out on a limb to me.
A bit button clicky, I guess you would say. But the great thing about a player like Troyanovskiy is that if he feels like he needs to fire again, he has that shell. He keeps a lot and a nice little smile. Some sort of awesome eye roll from Vladimir there. Just a great character here at the GPL.
Sort of around the stack, therefore I'm going to start limping a lot. All right, time to start limping.
Sean Spice remarks on Twitch, can't wait for this to get so big. Each team has hooligans who meet up and scrap before games. We are not condoning that here at the Global Poker League, but, you know.
Strange part of his range to lead out, but he does have the best hand and the best draw at this particular moment.
Yeah, you really, you know, I'm sure a lot of you at home are noticing, you know, you got to mix it up to stay unpredictable against these players.
What's that? Strategy, a commentary
Yeah, it's like an
2003.
No, it's
got to
an
mix it up.
Yeah, it's an
What are
SCC
you, Mike?
thing, you know. I mean,
69?
I found that when I played in the shark cage.
Yeah, that's right. I'm Sam Grafton, and he is
All right,
Shark
we
Cage winner
finally
Griffin
got the
Bencher.
goods.
Yep, once won $1 million for free by beating a
Just
rugby
opened the
player
call
at
here,
poker.
20 bucks.
One of the highlights of your CV. So Dominik looking to slow play the aces here.
What's your favorite nickname for aces? I'm wondering. Do you have a favorite? I've been going
The
with
boots.
weapons.
I like to go with the boots.
And
The boots?
we're gonna
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why?
bet
That's
4,000.
Cockney. That's what they call it in. Used to call it down the gutty. Boot and laces. Aces.
Yeah.
Cockney rhyming slang.
Oh,
aces.
that's great. I love that.
The boots. Picking up the boots.
Nice hand flat. Just doesn't give me any action when I have it.
It's almost like you can hear him.
Unfortunate.
That's great. Two aces here, 20 big blinds of front.
Limp can raise. I opt for the limp.
Obviously, Troy could just
Don't
shove.
have any strong opinion on this
obviously-
one either way.
A check.
10 reduce. I'm probably just gonna bet.
Under repped.
Flat betting here. We're just gonna call.
Again, he takes another medium strength hand and leads out with it. A little bit unconventional.
And
from
I don't think there's
Troyanovskiy.
any reason to be betting here.
Actually, the 5 kicker will play here
That's
at
crazy.
Showdown. Troyanovskiy.
And just hopefully not lose to like some random interesting week, Vladimir. Interesting.
Vladimir getting a real cult following on Twitch. Oh my God, Vlad, marry me. Why is Vov always creep smiling? Smirk, smirk. His smile is dirty. It looks like we might have our first sex symbol in the Global Poker League, the Vladimir Troyanovskiy of the Moscow Wolverines.
Well, you know, it's one of the goals of the GPL
Check
to
here
turn
Vladimir.
these players into stars. Maybe
Questioning.
we're going to have our first
Keep checking
superstar.
out
Yeah, and
the
if we
queen.
have to sell, you know, sell the good looks of
Kind of
someone
like
like
play some
Vlad
poker,
and
see
just
the
make
river.
him, you know, sell his soul, then that's
And
what we
seeing
need
the
to
river
do.
we shall. And
We're
now
sportifying over here.
I'm gonna value bet this the strong river 7 here.
Big bet for value, but interesting. Troyanovskiy doesn't even snap fold, just taking his time. Only thing he could do here is bluff raise. Maybe
Sort of medium size here. You know, I'd like to get paid off. I also think he bets a 9 on the turn himself.
Dominik Nitsche so strong in his hand reading abilities.
Alright, limp.
Vladimir with the Kevin, probably just, well, I was going to say check, but it looks like he might be using that blocker too.
And in the muck.
Nice hand there by Vladimir.
Again, we see wide
flop.
defense from
Not much to
Dominik,
do.
peeling with the 4-8 off.
Alright, in the muck with the 8 high. Not even a gut shot, not even a backdoor. I'm just out of the hand. Alright, last time we limped it, this time we raise it. We can certainly play either way with 5-3 suited in this spot, I think. So
Both get a little piece here. Bottom pair for Dom, middle
I
pair for
usually
Vladimir.
prefer limp actually, but we're gonna check here. We hit
Ooh, that is an action
Gin on the
for
turn.
Sam.
Yeah, Troyanovskiy with an
and
8.
Flat decides to bet, and the thing is, I know he likes to bet a lot of hands on the turn. Like, I'm gonna raise here, I think. Simply because Vladimir likes to bet so many hands on the turn. Like, he would even bet an 8 here for protection. So I think just raising is a very effective play.
Perfect analysis once again from the Berlin Bear representatives. What a selection by Philip Grusom.
Fortunately for Dominik, it doesn't come an 8 or a diamond. And Vladimir Troyanovskiy arrives at the river with just a pretty flimsy bluff catcher.
I just want Vladimir to like take me out for a vodka and like never call me again, you know?
And actually, the question once again is,
Tough spot here for Vladimir, and we're going to see some facial tics that reflect that in a second. 3, 2, 1.
You would presume
please call me,
that
Vlad.
folding
Please call me, bro.
some combos. Oh,
Booyah.
I mean, really sticky from Vladimir when he has the diamonds in his hand himself. When he has the 10 of diamonds, I don't like that call at all. And it swings the match very much in the favor of Dominik Nitsche, who now has Vladimir 2-1.
That's never a call.
And yeah, not just being results oriented, he could have perhaps them those 10s.
Is it oriented or orientated? I'm curious. I think it's oriented. It's,
6 is suited here. I'll just opt for Lynn.
Results oriental. What is it? There's so many different. Help me out here.
Don't put me on the spot when we're on camera.
Okay, sorry.
We'll Wikipedia it later.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
So, Dominik Nitsche.
I'll just keep checking. This is the wrong kind of hearts, and I'll just delay until latest treats to take a stab. All right, Vlad. You probably don't have anything.
I got a request here from J3233. Hey Griffin, don't talk about what I write in chat.
Fair enough. Respect the man's privacy, all right? He's just writing it in chat. He just wants it to go to solely those 1,200 viewers, okay? So, if you're joining us, this is the second of 3 matches between Vladimir Troyanovskiy of the Berlin Bears versus, of the Moscow Wolverines versus Dominik Nitsche of the Berlin Bears. Vladimir took down the first match, but Dominik Nitsche in position to seal the second one.
I'll just bet you. Probably doesn't have an ace because he didn't jam with 10 big blinds and we take it down. Check.
One of the features of these matches, Griffin, has been that players have gone short and come right back into it. You know, Vladimir not out of things for 10 big blinds. One cooler and it can swing back in his direction.
I'm going to try and step this board as well. I think he's going all in with quite a lot of kings pre-flop.
If you're just tuning in, guys, this is the Global Poker League. Please follow the conversation. We'd be happy to interact with you at GPL on Twitter. I'm at Griffin Benger. He's at, I believe, Squid Poker. Happy to field any and all of your questions. This is the Global Poker League. Check out the website, globalpokerleague.com.
All right. I would like some better hands to go all in, but this is like very not fun. It's like, oh, 8-4, 6-4. Say. I just feel like We'll pile this in.
Vladimir's probably going to call here with the deuces. I mean,
not thrilled about it, obviously, flipping against the entire range that doesn't also include a deuce, but, you know,
I'm pretty sure against a player of Dominik's caliber, you have to call here with any pair just to stop you getting exploited by how wide Dominik's shoving. You need a certain percentage of hands to call. I'm not an expert at these spots, but
some people say deuces never loses. I see them lose many times. I don't know if I want to call this one.
People are going to get confused. They're going to think they're hearing Vladimir. He has made the call.
It's really the perfect flip hand too. Jack 9 off against deuces.
A lot of equity for Dominik. He's actually a favourite still on this flop.
Oh, yeah, we'll take a commanding lead.
On off, a deuce required for Vladimir Troyanovskiy, and that levels things.
1-1.
Good game, both players. Dominik Nitsche securing 3 points for the Berlin Bears.
Yeah, again, Dominik Nitsche getting 3 points for the Berlin Bears. Excellent showing yesterday, showing again how good he is at heads up, splitting the first 2 matches with Vladimir Troyanovskiy. But the story, you know, obviously Dominik, the philosopher, has been a great story for the GPL. But Vladimir Troyanovskiy really showing his star power by just being himself. He's just sitting there, not really talking. People are loving the reactions and the expressions, and that's something that's always, you know, enchanted me he's enchanted me with it on the European Poker Tour, watching him playing with him, and now for you guys to be able to see that and for me to be a part of that, it's really fun for me.
Griffin Benja, a big Vov Troy fan. I think we can all see that. Yeah, of course, Vladimir Troyanovskiy putting in wonderful performance, but Dominik Nitsche, let's talk about the class of this player. I mean, this is a guy who, you'll notice, we've seen players get a little bit rattled by the camera, by the pressure put on you by performing in the GPL in front of thousands of people on Twitch and a variety of other mediums. But Dominik Nitsche knows this game so well. He knows his ranges. He knows what he's doing on every flop and turn, it seems. And, you know, a class act. And I'm really glad that he won at least one of these matches because he definitely deserves it.
Yeah, and, you know, a big 3 points for, you know, the Berlin Bears there. You know, they had a slow start last week. Jungle Man, we've talked about it. What are you laughing at me for?
Just sometimes it's absurd to me. Berlin Bears. Like,
yeah,
like someone made that up like a month ago. Like that didn't even exist. And now we're like, Berlin Bears.
Yeah.
God, great for the Berlin Bears. It's like, what the hell is that? Anyway, but yeah, Eric Denis probably just like scribbling that. He's at a restaurant. He's like, Berlin Bulls, Berlin Bobcats, Berlin Bears. And like Dreyfus is like, yeah, sounds good to me. Right, good, we got that one. Okay, Moscow. What we got? Moscow, I don't know. You know, and now it's like a made-up thing, but now we're making it real somehow.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
I mean, if you've ever wondered what it would look like to see a Wolverine fight a bear, you know, they'd be split.
A Wolverine with a card in its mouth playing poker. Yeah, who knows? The Global Poker League, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And Vladimir Troyanovskiy is competing for the Moscow Wolverines. It's a fact. Deal with it.
Yeah. I think it's time. Let's throw it to the desk. There's a second match. We'll be back in a second.
They can talk more about Wolverines and bears. Over to you guys in the studio.
Indeed, Wolverines and bears. We can just carry on this topic, can't we? Which would you be, a Wolverine or a bear, Eric?
I didn't come up with those, but I came up with Royals and Nationals. That's not too bad, right? I like the Royals. I think is my favorite. Great logo. So
who came up with the bears?
Very regal, very regal. I believe Wolverines and Bears were Max Rabinovich's creations.
Quick shout out to Max Rabinovich.
That's right. And the story that Sam does say is pretty much true, that we were all around, you know, in a circle coming up with names. That is actually the way things work at the GPL.
Would you rather be chased by a bear or a Wolverine?
I think Wolverines are dangerous. I think bears can be docile at times. Wolverines are insane.
Is a Wolverine just a wolf?
No, it's like a little bit thing. It's
a real thing?
Yeah,
of
course.
It was like something from
No, it's got mega nails.
movies.
It is a very, very scary animal. It's one of those small animals that just
I thought it was just Hugh
never gives
Jackman.
up. No. I think it's based on that. That's where the claws come out. No, it's an actual living being, very prominent in cold weather countries, Russia, Canada, northeastern USA. They're around, they're enforced.
I have a lot to learn, clearly. Let's talk about that final, that's not the final, the second match
That's
there.
right.
Getting a bit too ahead of
It
myself.
should be the final for you.
Yeah. Dominik Nitsche for the Berlin Bears, equalising there, 1 game all now, and everything to play for in this last matchup.
Yeah, and this is a big victory in this game for Berlin. They now move up to 4th position, so they're at least going to be finishing the day at least in front of Rome. So it's good for them.
14 points?
Let's check very quickly. They have 18 points. They're on 18 points at the moment. So, you know, in good position at the moment. Moscow is still sitting at 16, so Moscow could move ahead. They could be in 4th place should Troyanovskiy win this match. So it looks like it's going to be the battle for 4th, although Berlin could move up in the standings as well. So standings very close in that area. I think the two teams desperately need that win because, as we've discussed, Paris is starting to mount or build a really big lead, and you just don't want to be too far away. Still a lot of poker left, but as we keep on mentioning, you'd rather be Paris than be Moscow at this point.
These matches, the last two, they seem to have been going on a little bit longer than the other ones. Why do you think that is? The type of play, or?
Yeah, they're strong players. They're very evenly matched. It's funny, in the difference in age, difference in experience as well. Vlad has been around for 20 years on tour, but Dominik has been around for 7 years. But he's already had a career that spans 50 years. Knowing, if you look at his Hendemob record, it's just ridiculous. You know, he is one of the players. He's young enough that he could match Casey Castle, who owns the most flags on Hendemob, which means cashes in different countries. Every time you cash in a country, you get a flag. And Casey Castle is miles ahead of everyone, but Sorel Mitzi and Dominik Nitsche are close. And Nitsche is so young still, he's 25. I wouldn't be surprised in 15 years if Nitsche just destroys the competition in most flags. But again, 25 years old, and he's a 7-year veteran on the live tournament circuit.
I remember, in fact, one of my very first poker jobs I met Dominik Nitsche, so he must have been breaking into it around then, I would have thought.
So he was 18, you would have been 15 at the time.
Yeah, I was about
it's
12,
weird.
maybe. Funnily enough, it was quite a funny story because I was just sort of learning about this whole new weird world of poker. And I met Dominik Nitsche inside a fast food restaurant, attempting to do a prop bet with a certain amount of chicken nuggets.
Oh no.
And I was like, what is going on here?
Pretty scary that a guy that weighs 100 pounds can eat that many nuggets.
He ate about 100 chicken nuggets.
See?
I wonder if he remembers that even.
It's crazy. It's funny how Germany seems to just make these guys, they just keep on coming. Dominik Nitsche was the first one from that generation. Ola Shemyon then, and now it's the Fedor Holtz show. It's just amazing how Germany, the young players in Germany, just keep on rising.
Indeed they do. Well, we're going to be heading back very, very soon to the third and final matchup of today. Of course, it's all been about the Eurasian Conference this evening, but tomorrow we have some great lineups as well for you. The Americas Conference for the heads-up play will be tomorrow. Olivier Bousquet will be back in action as well. We saw him at kick-off play last week. I'm wondering, is Maria Ho, manager of LA Sunset, going to use Olivier Bousquet for heads-up every single week?
If things keep on going this way, I don't see why not. He was the reason Maria drafted Olivier is to play in these heads-up matches. I don't see him playing any 6-max matches. There's no reason for him to do that. I really think he's going to play most of the heads-up matches.
Okay, we'll go over tomorrow's schedule probably a little bit later on in the show. We will head back to the desk now to Griffin and to Sam, and they will run us through this next one.
Thanks, Laura. I'm Griffin Benger. This is Sam Grafton. This is the Global Poker League. This is the last match of the night. And Vladimir Troyanovskiy, we get a little more of him and a little more of Dominik Nitsche, the philosopher. Great heads-up match. A lot of history between these two guys. A little bit of a rivalry developing in the Eurasia division between the Moscow Wolverine and the Berlin Bear. So yeah, it's been an exciting time. It's good.
Yeah, of course. And I think something to pick up on, which Eric said, is incredible strength and depth when it comes to German poker. Really, there's been times where the Americans were dominating. There was even a small period where the British were dominating on the European circuit. Now really is the time of the Germans. So many strong players. And Dominik Nitsche can really count himself amongst the elite of Germany. These guys work on their strategy super hard, working really in the lab, off the table, and that class is coming through in this match.
And there they are, switched places, pardon me.
We're back.
We see Dominik Nitsche on the right, and on the left, Vladimir, don't call me Vlad Troyanovskiy.
Yes, if you're just joining us, One game apiece. Just to reiterate, this isn't exactly a best of 3 format. It's not that you get the points for winning 2 out of the 3. Each match is worth 3 points separately. Of course, people do want bragging rights of having overcome their opponent 2 out of 3 times. But each individual match is worth 3 points, which go to your franchise is tally. So 3 points for the Wolverines, 3 points for the Bears, and another 3 points up for grabs here. The first 2 were incredibly compelling contests, and I think we can expect more of the same this time around. We will hopefully get Dominik back.
We're going to 3-bet pretty big here,
well.
around. I just 3-bet pretty big here. Around 4 times against the minimum raise. Feet on. I think I'm going to start. I'm going to 3-bet a bit more than in this match. Almost definitely.
And an early exchange.
Slightly too weak. I have no reads on his 3-betting tendencies, so I'm just going to make a tight fold there.
Yeah, an early exchange of 3 bets between the 2 players there. Not a huge feature of the first 2 matches, pre-flop battles, but Dominik suggesting his strategy is going to change in this third and final match.
Good flop for Vlad here. Open-ended straight draw. Backdoor straight flush draw for the optimistic ones out there. And we should see him bet here and a quick fold from Dom.
He bets tiny again. I think he's weak there, but I can't do anything with 9 high. And we're gonna.
We got a tweet here from Bjorn Gustafsson. Big props to my bud Dominik Nitsche for explaining his thoughts in every hand of this GPL heads-up match.
And,
exactly what viewers want to hear.
This is just a check, in my opinion. Not interested in this hand until I somehow reduce or river reduce. Vladimir checks. I'll keep checking. And we check. Wow. Kept the minimum raise. We decide to call.
And a big flop
2 pair.
for Dominik Nitsche. And Vladimir Troyanovskiy in general has been, and he checks back and now draws Dom.
Checks back. We block a 4, which is really annoying. I'm just going to check.
Good instincts here from Dominik Nitsche. Philosophizing his way through this hand.
That's kind of surprising. I'm going to call you.
And as you can all see, Vladimir can clearly go for value on this river with 3 kings. And Dominik Nitsche going to be in a position to bluff catch.
Awkward. Awkward. I really don't think he checks a king on the flop ever. Gotta at least think about it, but I think he bets. If flat has like. Yeah, I call. Nice hand flat, yeah. Got me. You got me.
Nice early pot going to Vladimir Troyanovskiy. A very deceptive check back
nice
with top pair. And won a big pot because of it.
Action-packed flop here, a little piece for Vladimir. And
bet our gut shot, the backdoor flush draw.
There you go.
And this is a hand where I'm very tempted to empty the clip on him, especially if there is a diamond.
And unaware that Vladimir, has 2 pair.
I mean, this is pretty button clicky from Troyanovskiy.
I'm not entirely sure what to make of this lead. I'm gonna raise here because I just don't think this is like. I don't think this makes very much sense for him.
Yeah,
And that's
Plus, we have the double gutter.
this doesn't make any sense at all, but it's not going to work out well necessarily for Dominik because Vladimir actually does have a strong hand. And this is a very confusing spot because I don't think Vladimir even knows where he is in his range. Well, there we go. Dominik Nitsche, you see the equities switch completely. Dominik making the straight on the river. That's why he picked this combination to bluff with.
And now we're in a spot where we don't really have any bluffs. We got to bet tiny.
Going to see a grunt coming from the Wolverine in a second here.
I'd love to see him some Russian curse words. I'd love to hear some Russian curse words. Really unfortunate river card for Vladimir Troyanovskiy. As Dominik Nitsche said, when he said, I don't really have any bluffs, it's because the bluffs, the hands he raises on the turn are either going to be strong value hands or it's going to be a diamond draw or a straight draw, both of which got there. So the only real bluff combos he's left with is 9-10. Vladimir recognizing that and making a very disciplined fold there with the 2 pair. And, you know, if you're somewhat new to poker, perhaps playing home games or small stakes tournaments and cash games, you can see these kind of players can get away from those kind of holdings like 2 pairs when they don't beat anything.
You got it flat.
Good flop for Vladimir here because it means he won't lose any chips against the monster holding of Dominik Nitsche.
It's Nietzsche, like the philosopher, remember, bro?
Right, sorry. I'm just going to call him the philosopher from now on.
Disappointing.
It actually works on like a meta like Harry Potter level since he kind of looks like Dumbledore, you know, the Philosopher's Stone.
I've never read Harry Potter.
The first Harry Potter book was called The Philosopher's Stone. It's also called the Sorcerer's Stone. So
Raise it up.
I don't know. It's
Was
pretty
that
meta.
they changed it for the American market? 'Cause
Yeah.
you didn't like the...
Yes, that's exactly what happened. I'm not. That's not a joke.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Just not as cultured as us Europeans, are you?
No.
And just so you guys know, I found out on the break, occasionally you can see Dominik typing into chat or whatever and little smiles. These guys are actually having a little bit of back and forth. They have each other's Skypes. So occasionally, you know, as the replay comes up and they find out what each other had, they're giving each other a little bit of needle or what have you.
And that's sort of another level of the dynamic that's so fun is that, you know, these guys, even though they can't see each other on the camera and they can't talk to each other with their voices,
Try and step you.
they do have that communication line open and they kind of chirp each other and have a good time.
Yeah, what would you give to have Vladimir Troyanovskiy on Skype? That'd be a
I
fucking,
think I
that'd
get
be
quite
a
a lot
huge
of
win,
folds
yeah?
there. Flat doesn't
Yeah, I would.
spade.
I mean, I would sell all of my bears and
No.
Wolverines just for that. Especially my German beers. Beers.
Berlin beers. That'd be good. I love Berlin. Beers.
Berlin Berserkers was a recommendation on the
Too
stream.
controversial, mate. Too
Yeah?
controversial. They got to go.
Well, the
It
other
can
one,
be
the other one he
aggressive.
recommended was Berlin Blitzkrieg, so he wasn't the most.
Whoa. Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
Twitch.
check the
Twitch
king high here.
is a you know it's
Certainly
an
bad.
interesting place.
I wouldn't share that.
No,
Certainly check.
King 7 here for Dominik Nitsche. Vladimir, not
Back
much
to-
equity. Yeah,
back to the commentary.
Instant subject change.
Back to professional mode.
Yes,
Do you have a professional mode, Griffin? We're yet to
I'm
see
still
it.
searching
You're
for it,
holding
man.
that back for the
It's
It's only been a week and a half. You gotta give
That's
me
the river
time.
we're looking for.
With time and counseling, I might get good at this job. Great river
And
for
now
Dom.
we're going to value it.
So things swung back in the favor of Dominik here. Obviously, when he rivered that straight against Vladimir's 2-pair.
Right, check this.
But again, you know, we said it earlier, sort of evenly matched opponents. No one really having a huge edge over the other. Certainly not in across the, the fourth match between these two.
To the turn we go.
Dominik with a little bit of showdown value in fourth pair. So you can see he doesn't need to bet his draw. Happy to just bluff catch.
Sort of close, but Vladimir is shown to be sometimes aggressive on the turn with strong hands, with weaker holdings. King at a 6, that would be a very fun event. So we're just gonna call here, and like this, the straight's also fine for us. So we're just gonna do a quick chat. There's
6 cards straight
no
here
way
for
I'm leading this
Vladimir.
river.
7 cards. 7 cards straight for Vladimir
And we're
Troyanovskiy.
gonna snap call against the bet.
Interested to see what sizing Vladimir picks. Presume he would size down on this river, but hearts did miss. Yeah, it's pretty poor sizing choice, I think, from Vladimir.
Damn it! Just a split pot there. It's okay. I'll take half the pot.
I mean, I guess he knows his range. Well, obviously he knows his range better than we do. But
Troyanovskiy, you know, electing to call with the Jack-4. He defends probably widest of most of the heads-up matches that we've seen.
Well, Dominik also defends like this. I mean, I think this is pretty standard in the modern game. I think someone like Busquet we saw defending these kind of hands. You can't be folding Jack high, otherwise you're going to lose so many blinds versus a min-raise strategy.
1800.
So can we?
But it's
go
interesting. You're absolutely right. We saw really good players like Elke,
have different
like Sam
strategies,
Trickett, folding holdings like this. Sam Trickett's, you know, considering he's so confident post-flop and such a great player, made unbelievably tight folds from the big blind. So, you know, there are a variety of strategies employed. And this is sort of thing where the game develops so quickly now. 2 years from now, people will be looking back at these and being like, oh, it's crazy that people had whatever strategy. Game obviously constantly evolving.
All of these flat calls from the big blind, though, it does make me want to start calling him Vladimir Troyanovskiy. Too much?
Guys, do tweet into at Griffin Bender if you're not happy with his level
everything
of banter.
everything I'm bringing to the table.
I'll use this one as a 3-bet this time. Easy raise here with the intention of getting it in, but we get flatted. On 7-5-3, it's just one of these spots where it's a pretty bad flop for our hand. I like to check it. Perfect board. Once again, we can go either way. I'll opt for it. I'll 3-bet it this time. I'm not going to bet him. He's been folding so many of my 3-bets that I think this is just all over him. Well, on this turn, it sort of leaves me no choice but to go for a big bet and then
Correct analysis on the flop there by the philosopher, saying that he didn't want to bet on this board after 3-betting with the 9-8 off because it was all over Vladimir's range, but then kind of chickening out here on. But we're getting gin on the river for the split.
It is sort of interesting in a way that There's no reason not to just check here, obviously. We check here. Because we beat all his 2 pairs, and when he bets, then we just lose. Oh, split pot.
Getting
Yeah,
a lot of splits here, and you can see the frustration in Vlad's face. Vladimir,
all-in.
pardon me.
And,
But he won't be frustrated now.
We're raising, and if he 3-bets, we're all in.
Uh-oh. Dominik said it himself. Fasten your seatbelts, guys. This is a lot of big blinds to jam, by the way.
No, Mr. Nitsche.
And we're all in here.
I expect you to shove.
Oh, a small pair.
Dominik
Oh,
Nitsche
no.
needs a 3 to eliminate Vladimir Troyanovskiy.
Pretty good flop.
Can we get there?
9 of clubs for a sweat.
That is not the sweat card.
And Vladimir Troyanovskiy going to be
3. No.
in a commanding position in this third and final match. And Vladimir, you can see how happy he is.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, really nice to see. I really think that he's having a great time representing his country.
Yeah, I said, of course, it was.
I'm pretty sure that's a call.
Was a bit less than that. And Dominik calls with the.
To get back in it.
Great flop for his hand, obviously.
Easy.
10. 10 would do it.
Just no 10? All right.
Full house for Dominik Nitsche. And something of a comeback. At least back to 20 big blinds.
7-10.
I'm not quite sure what he said there. Did you get that, Chris?
Yeah, he said, so seek and 7-10 here, huh? When he had the 2 pair and he led the turn and got raised.
Oh, right. Okay. Mate, there you go. Griffin Benga speaks Bob Troy.
Right.
Fluent in Bob Troy.
Here. Plan is to keep checking. Against Vladimir, he bets a lot on the turn. I know.
Discipline fold from Dom. He did have the worst hand there.
Check it with the 4 deuce. Gonna keep calling you with 4 and a deuce.
Great turn card for Vladimir here. 2 overs and a gut shot to the stone. Nuts. The stones, the philosopher's
It's going to be tough
stones.
for Dominik because his hand is very weak, we can see, but this turn card brings a lot of draws.
I'll call one more time against Vlad.
Ding,
And
ding,
this
ding,
is
ding.
an awesome situation. And I don't think many people would do this here, but I think it's like the dream situation to like fire out a big lead because I don't think he has any force. And I have like it's such a game changer, this river card.
Now, Vladimir might actually be contemplating a queen high call here. Dom does have some like missed straight draws, but he really wouldn't play. I mean, he's not going to call twice with something like 7-5 unless it's 7-5 of clubs. So yeah, I mean, I guess a pretty easy fold, but it's nice to see the wheels spinning there in the mind of the great Russian. Big flop here for both players.
Yeah, and as Dominik's identified several times for the viewers,
Easy
Vladimir
bet
is quite a sticky player down the streets. Of course, Vladimir recognizes he doesn't have, well, I mean...
That's fun.
Just
it's just not GTO, you know. I mean, it's like what
massively
you doing min raising.
Massively clicking buttons. Vladimir Troyanovskiy just
Annoying.
betting his...
Jack 9 gets there, but
betting his 2-pair draw.
we're not getting out of this just yet. See what happens. That's a super annoying river. That's just like so annoying.
Should go check here.
I'm super confused. I'm just trying to think if like he somehow has a stronger ace than me and I can just like overbet jam because I don't think he has very much. But I think my hand is too strong and I have plenty of showdown. I'll check, but I'm not sure. Damn it, I could have.
Yeah, Interesting
This
analysis.
is just. Nice hand, Vlad. Nice hand.
Oh, the philosopher
I'll
getting
opt
a
to call you.
stranger there with the back pat. Obviously, a little frustrated that he read the situation so perfectly, but then didn't pull the trigger. So difficult when there's so many different factors to consider, so many moving parts and ebbs and flows in the course of a
I'm
hand.
expecting him to just continuation bet here all the time.
Yeah. Also really frustrated that Vladimir check raised second pair and then somehow turned an
Sweet
obscure
turn.
two
Yeah,
pair.
absolutely.
Good turn card for Dominik Nitsche's actual hand.
And I think we're just going to check here again. I mean, obviously we're checking. Showdown. King high is good.
Of course.
So up the limp.
Really tense stuff. These guys very familiar
And
with
we're
each
going
other
to
now.
bet if
And
Vlad checks.
I'm sure both of them would love to make it 2-1 in favour of themselves and their team, and sort of, have the bragging rights, knowing they came out on top up over this epic contest. Going to make things easier for Dom to check behind with a double gut shot and bottom pair. I presume.
Do I have dinner turn from the showdown value here? A little bit-ish.
And Vladimir rivering a strong hand with two pair.
I'll just check it down here.
He can go
full to Vladimir river bet.
He can go for value, and
I think we're done with this.
again, Vladimir very much tends to play his sort of hand strength rather than his range, I think. And I think a player like Dominik is going to capitalize on that. And if this were, a slightly different structure, would have an advantage and be able to exploit that, I'm pretty sure.
Really interesting defend here by Dominik Nitsche. We've talked about how wide they're willing to defend. A bit surprising he defends on 15 big blinds with such a terrible starting hand. Does get lucky on Vladimir, obviously, given the board, but yeah, what do you think about that defend, this shallow stack?
I mean, I'm personally in favor of these really wide defending ranges. By no means an expert at heads up, but I really understand this strategy. And if, in fact, short stacked, it's even more playable because one pair is often good for your stack, or a gut shot is good for your stack. As I said, other people, including Sam Trickett, have other strategies. So, it's not something that by any means has been solved.
Points for
Vladimir electing to trap with King Jack preflop once again. We'll remember that he did that in
match two, wasn't it?
I believe it was match one, maybe. Yeah, match one. It was his winning hand.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
This looks like
full call.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might be an all-in and a call, but now it'll just be a limp and a fold, I believe.
Folding.
The philosopher throwing the knife into the drawer. King 5, the knife. Knife.
It's not going to catch on, Griff, I'm telling you.
Stop trying to make knife happen. It's not going to happen. No. Vladimir with the Queen 3 offsuit.
It's an easy check here with the Jack 5, and we flop really well. And I personally think, I'll throw another check. And then bet big on the river.
See, Vladimir does like to bet very thin for value and protection on these turns. And putting in a bet that doesn't go in good
check call
very
down
often.
on the river, depending on what he does. We're not folding. Even though diamonds get there, but... Yeah.
The philosopher taking it down with Motown.
Dominik Nitsche, very short, down to 12 big blinds. Vladimir Troyanovskiy trying to finish off the job and secure a further 3 points for the Moscow Wolverines. You can see at the bottom of your screen, these guys have already played twice today. Vladimir Troyanovskiy securing the first match for 3 points. Dominik Nitsche securing the second for 3 points for his Berlin Bears.
Vladimir deciding to make a bit of an unconventional float here on the flop. You know, his hand having some backdoors,
And we're just
some fives, some deuces kind of thing, but not going to work out.
He does turn a gut shot.
down.
Great to be able to pick up a pair at this stack depth, obviously Griff, and an automatic all-in.
Hard to get a pair heads up.
Hard to get a pair full ring, bruv. Troyanovskiy jamming the 6-8 suited. And
Massive holdings here.
Here we go. There's going to be a big coin flip. Vladimir Troyanovskiy is going to need a king or a queen.
We're throwing him in the pits. The bear versus the Wolverine.
To get back in it. No.
He's outflopped Dominik, and now Dominik going to need backdoor hearts or a 9.
It's the 9 or a heart. Can I get there? 25%.
Big river card here for both players.
Get there. Yes.
Dominik Nitsche, he runs pretty good.
Okay.
Vovtroy, he gives that look, doesn't he?
Yeah.
This is
Okay. Like me jamming on my limbs.
so frustrating. One card away from winning the match. So frustrating for Vladimir Troyanovskiy.
I just wait on.
A big hand here for Vlad. Would love to see a check back, as we saw from Dario Sammartino in that match earlier. But looks like Vovtroy is going to elect to raise, and he's probably going to lose a customer, especially if he makes it more than 6,000, which I imagine he will do for balance.
Well, I think it's slightly deeper stacks, and so that's why
Right.
he's employing a raising strategy. And Dom does defend.
This is a beautiful flop for Vladimir, simply because Dominik doesn't have any aces in his range, so he's essentially flopped the nuts.
Gotta defend against the bet here, even though we don't really like it with the 7 high draw. But
See how
Yeah, I'm just gonna
tough
call it.
down the streets Dominik Nitsche does play.
Interesting to see Vladimir decide to continue to bet for value here.
Again, I think this
I
is a
agree,
case
Sonia.
of him betting his hand and not his range.
Right.
I think that bet is constructed around the fact that he has the king of clubs. I think if he had ace jack of hearts, for instance, he would be picking a different sizing.
I'm just gonna go all in here for 15 big blinds. Flat has shown that he likes to limp and trap me in the other match.
Line's getting pretty intense here. They will go up to 1,400, 2,800 in just over a minute here. So a bit of bingo poker here towards the end, a bit of a slow match here.
But Dominik Nitsche was one card away from elimination and now right back in this game. Down to just 10 bigs. That huge caller, King Queen suited versus nines, was on the right side of the flip. And it's important that Vladimir keeps his cool. Obviously, I know that feeling from heads-up contests where you're so close to the win. It's hard to, you know, get back the right mentality to play your A game and grind Dominik back down again.
I'm going to step here.
Nice hand here for Vladimir.
Wow.
Up for another limb.
And this Dominik
Snap
Nitsche
call.
running good at the right time.
Cooler. Can we hold? Oh.
Ooh.
It's never easy.
9 or an ace for Vladimir, and he will take this match.
Never easy.
He does not. Cooler, obviously.
Sweet.
Bricks off. Real unfortunate for Vladimir Troyanovskiy. And now it's Dominik Nitsche. A complete turnaround. It's Dominik Nitsche who has Vladimir Troyanovskiy down to under 10 big blinds and a clear favourite to take down this contest. Really unfortunate turn of events for Vladimir. You got a feel for the geezer.
Yeah, and it really goes to show, too, this might be a call from Troyanovskiy. He's obviously going to consider it. And he will have his opponent dominated. Makes the call.
We're dominated.
Strong call with the Jack 8 and a
Great flop.
strong flop as well. 3 for a square, offsuit. Go on.
Some chop outs. Yeah.
Do you want to say it? Chopportunity.
King.
Just an offsuit 4. Huh? No.
And that is a double up for Troyanovskiy. This match seems to never end. Thanks for staying with us at the GPL. 2 of the brightest minds in the poker world. And Dominik defending the 8-4 off and catching a little piece of the board. Vladimir won't be c-betting this board with a high frequency, so he can, wow, he checked it back. Sick.
Tweet from Philip Gruesome here.
Bet
Dominik
here.
Nitsche.
Feeling very comfortable with my hand.
Sorry, let's just see this hand, then we'll hear from the Philip Gruesome.
The manager of the Berlin Bears, of course.
So Dominik actually betting for value here on the turn. And that river should slow Dom down.
King, river, another diamond. But I know he doesn't have it. He probably bet most of his tens on the flop. Would have bet most of his flush draws on the flop. Hard for him to have a king unless it's king, extra clubs. Expect to check here most of the time. If he bets, we're in a bit of a nightmare situation.
Excellent analysis from Dom here.
Very nightmare-ish situation against the bet.
Wow. And also a bit of a timing tell. Snap bet from Troyanovskiy.
Flat.
I mean, how quickly did that bet come in? We haven't seen that from him once. And whether Dom's going to pick up on that.
Yeah, definitely a situation where, you know, Dominik wants to show some discipline. Obviously, you know, to the viewer at home, this looks like it should just definitely be a fold, but it's, you know, like we've talked about, hard to make a pair heads up. These guys have so much history against each other now. Definitely a tough spot for the bear from Berlin.
Yeah.
Clubs, and the only value hand he's representing is 2 clubs that somehow rivered the king. Because I know he bets his tens on the flop.
And this is why the hand does not
He
make
bets-
sense to him.
I know he bets most of his diamonds on the flop as well. I'm gonna hero. Wow.
Not
Wow.
a hand.
Long card.
That makes a lot of sense, I guess.
And Vladimir Troyanovskiy turning the tables after being down, making that great all-in call with the Jack
Sick
8,
check, Vladimir.
playing aces really effectively.
All right, can we get back in the game of eights? Against Queen 3?
Yet another all-in
Oh, this
contest.
looks good.
It will be another double up for Dominik Nitsche. I mean, maybe this is going to go all night, Griff. Are we allowed to clock off at some point? Do you think these guys will be all right if we just leave them? Dominic could take over.
Yeah.
And we're back.
Sure.
Such a compelling match. No one backing down. Back and forth, back and forth. And now, funnily enough, the stacks not exactly leveled out, but Vladimir Troyanovskiy, who had Dominik Nitsche against the ropes with only a small chip advantage.
Yeah, and you can hear them typing, and they're typing back and forth to each other, kind of, you know,
They're
having a little fun.
Tapping curse words back and forth to each
Yeah.
other. Die, Russian. Yeah, remarkable stuff. No one giving up.
I'm gonna check the Queen 8.
Big flop here for both players. Vladimir obviously having the worst of it here with the 5 kicker. The 5 kicker.
So close between bet and check. This time I've just decided to use it as my check call.
River should go check here.
Well, Troyanovsky's definitely going to be tempted to go for value. He checked back the flop, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's going to think that Dom's mainly got deuces, threes, and ace high. So yeah, he does go for
And
value.
I'm just gonna have to pay off here, I think. Boom. Yeah.
Good prediction, Griff.
Long days, buddy.
Well played by Vladimir. Well played by me too, I think.
Dominik Nitsche, well played by me, I think. Thanks, Dom. Give yourself a
I'm
pat.
just gonna step here. I can check too. I'm just gonna step this time.
And will this match ever end? Really remarkable stuff. No inch, no what is it? No quarter given or taken. No inch,
I'm expecting to
whatever that
bet here.
phrase is.
He's gonna reason that he has more aces than me, but I got and a pretty awesome turn card,
Not as awesome
giving
as
us a catch up, which means we will be continuing to the river if he chooses to bet.
I'd love to see Troyanovskiy barrel off here.
And
Wow.
the river's a 9, and that's sort of interesting as well. I could opt to lead. I can opt to lead if I can also check.
Dominik recognizing that he's going to be the one with the majority of nines, as Vladimir normally checks his nines on the flop or the turn.
I'm folding to the river bet.
Dominik
Great
Nitsche,
analysis here by the philosopher himself.
So sharp.
All right. I said I'd fold.
Again, situation I think where Vladimir betting his hand rather than his range. A lot of sizing tells that I think Troyanovskiy does give off.
A7 is just in my all-in range here. I'll limp some other aces. Not this one. This one. So,
And these stacks almost even again.
I'm checking here with the deuce 8.
It's a good job this
Make a
match
bet.
isn't raked, Griffin. Otherwise, they'd pretty much be down to stubs.
You didn't hear? We are the
I
rake.
expected this bet most
Yeah,
of the
listen
time.
to
So
us.
call.
Our commentary is the rake.
Yeah.
Improved to
Here
a
on
diamond
the
draw.
GPL. So let's let Dominik talk if he's giving the analysis.
Rage Tilt on Twitch has just said, hanging around. This guy has alligator blood. Talking about Vov Troy refusing to go
Sort
away.
of interesting. I'll elect to limp you. I like the limp.
These guys actually just 20 big blinds in play. This is the last blind level. The blinds do not go up from this point. And we are going to have a winner soon. And in fact, this could be the hand, a shove from Vladimir, snap call from Dominik Nitsche, and off to the races we go.
No, can we get there again?
Backdoor spades required once more.
Spade for the excitement.
A 3 and a 3 only, otherwise Vladimir Troyanovskiy will be the winner.
Nope.
One time for me. Very well played. Very good game.
Heartwarming to see Vladimir smile then, able to take 2 of 3 from the very, very talented philosopher known as Dominik Nitsche. Yeah, just excellent play from them both. These matches did tend to go to the pretty high blind level. These guys had a lot of hand history against each other. There was a lot of different dynamics brewing. Definitely a fun match to watch.
Sorry, say that again. I'm getting like the producer speaking in my.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Don't worry about it, guys. That was the last match of the night. These days are long for us here at the GPL. A little bit of a brain fart there from my boy Sam, but we're having a great time. We're so glad you're able to join us today for the coverage. Maybe you just tuned in. We are the Global Poker League. It's an initiative to sportify poker. We have all these great representatives for all these different teams. 12 teams, 6 in the Eurasia division, 6 in the Americas. Today we had 3 separate
we had 3 separate contests.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first match was Randy Liu, who lost 2 games to 1 against the incredibly talented Sam Trichet, who really put on a show for us, securing 6 points for the London Royals. In the second match, we had 2 high-stakes cash game professionals. Dario San Martino losing 2 games to 1 against Alexandre Luneau, getting pretty unlucky there, was pretty frustrated at the end, but he secured 6 points for top of the table, Paris Aviators. And there, the third match of the night, Dominik Nitsche versus Vladimir Troyanovskiy, 2 games to 1. The Russian bringing home 6 points for the Moscow Wolverines.
Yeah, and the thing that I really liked about today more than any of the other days was really getting an insight into the lives of some of these players. Obviously, we did have the webcams up last week for some of the heads-up matches, but some of them weren't really that prepared for it, and they didn't have the right kind of lighting. Guys like Tim Adams. But today we really saw sort of the
we
character
saw loads
of some.
Vladimir Troyanovskiy's pad.
No, yeah, well, no, it was great, but also just like the way that you talked about sort of the the wizard room of Dominik Nitsche, or they're just like homie, the dogs of like the Sam Trichet. It's just it's really cool to see. I mean, look, the wine of Alexandre Luneau.
Yeah,
so it's really cool to see. I mean, the Global Poker League, right? These are players from all over the world. We're going to get a little snippet into their life, and that's really what's so cool about this league.
I think one of the interesting things is these are all great players, but actually they play their hands and their ranges in very, very different ways. Sam Trichet had a very, very different approach to Dominik Nitsche. They're both great players. They both compete in the high rollers around the world. Both play and are competent in cash games, and yet they actually took very different approaches, and that's something that's really interesting to see. It shows that there is no right way to approach poker, or as of yet, no consensus amongst the world top players about the way to approach these heads-up matches.
Yeah, the Moscow Wolverines did get 6 points from that match there, thanks to Vladimir Troyanovskiy. You guys have seen a lot of him now. He's gotten a lot of points for that team. He's definitely been one of the MVPs so far early in this season. Again, this was day 5 of the GPL, guys. We started last week on Tuesday. If you want to keep checking us out, please go to www.globalpokerleague.com. You can follow the conversation on Twitter at GPL. You can even try to contact us at Griffin Benger and at Squid Poker. This has been a really exciting time for poker, and for any fan out there who's ever wanted to know how these guys play, how these guys live. It's just been awesome.
I love it when you get all lyrical about the GPL. I love it when you get all excited. Yeah, of course. I mean, we saw 6 people in action. Obviously, we had seen a lot of Vladimir Troyanovskiy and Dominik Nitsche, saw them in action yesterday, but also introducing some new figures, and Dario San Martino, Alexandre Luneau, and particularly from my country, Sam Trichet, one of the superstars of the game. And he showed that although he's a little bit off the scene at the moment, we don't see him as much in front of the camera in the big tournaments. He's playing big cash games around the world. He has not lost it. He put on a very polished performance, and I think, again, it's showing the strength of the London Royals, and that wildcard pick of Liv Boeree might be the difference between, finishing third or fourth in the league and actually winning this conference.
Yeah, and it's a cool kind of like different level to poker. I mean, you talk about someone like Sam Trickett, you talk about someone like Vladimir Troyanovskiy. Some people who frequent the EPT Live, stream through PokerStars might see Vladimir Troyanovskiy, but they don't get to see his hole cards. They don't get to see inside of his home. They don't get to see inside of his thought process. And once that happened, you could see that a cult following started to happen for Vladimir Troyanovskiy. There were girls in the chat talking about "marry me." It was really a fun thing to see.
I think, wasn't that about me? I assumed I saw.
No, it wasn't. I'm sorry to say. But Sam Trickett, again, this is someone who didn't really say anything over the course of his match, and people were just glued to the screen, and they just get it. And a lot of the time, when you're watching poker on TV, even if you see a guy like Sam Trickett, if you don't get to see his cards or see how he's reacting or his thought process, it's certainly not as interesting. So we're really excited that we sort of found this golden egg, when it comes to
if he scrapes together some money and can afford a microphone, we'll get even more of his thought process.
Exactly. Let's throw to the lounge, guys. We're almost done for the day here. And Eric Denny and, of course, Laura Cornelius have a lot of information for us at the end of this day.
Thank you so much, Sam and Griffin. I thought genuinely that match was never going to end.
It was long. It was about an average of 50 hands per match.
But I think there was that one bit, and Dominik was one hand away, and then it just kept swinging back and swinging forth.
Yeah, the swings were really, really exciting at the end. Some might not have found them exciting, but some others here in the studio really did like to see that happen. Again, we've talked about so many times that they were so evenly matched. It's not a surprise to see what just happened. Two great players. Fun to have the two different types of players on screen. Again, I'll pay to see Vladimir Troyanovskiy on screen playing poker anytime. It was great fun.
We saw his floorboards last night, but it was complete pitch black. Do you think he'd done that specially for us?
To be honest, it's an hour later than it is here and where he is. So it's around 2 a.m. right now. So maybe the family was sleeping.
Actually, Moscow, I think, is further forward.
Maybe.
It's quite a few hours.
It is.
He's up
dark
late tonight, huh?
That's right. So I think the family was sleeping, so he was respecting the family. Plays in his loungy area, as we saw yesterday. So, other people could walk in, but it was great to see the great Vladimir Troyanovskiy. And it was fun to see the Twitch chat. They seem to be big fans of the Mad Russian.
And Dominik Nitsche really trying hard to score some points for the Berlin Bears after not a great start to the week from the Jungle Man last week. Some entertaining, amazing play from him, but not many points, is fair to say.
We're going to see the standings shortly. Dominik scored 15 of a possible 23 points. That is really, really good. That vaults him right on top of the top scorers list. So really a great job. I'm sure he wanted to win at least 2 matches here in this heads-up play. But I mean, all those points accumulated out of 23, I think he'll be satisfied with 15 out of those 23 points.
Let's take a look at the Eurasian Conference standings right now, because Paris Aviators still with a tremendous lead there, 7 points clear of the Hong Kong Stars. Thanks to that game earlier, Luno picking up 6 points against the Rome Emperors, Dario San Martino. So Hong Kong Stars, as we mentioned, on 23 points, London Royals behind them on 19. The Wolverines just managed to claw 1 point above the Bears, thanks to that last game there.
That's right.
And poor Max Pescatori, who we spoke to earlier, right down at the bottom of the table now. But still not, if you look between 6th place and 3rd place, there's 2 points in it.
That's right, there are 2 points out of the playoffs, but there are 13 points already out of first place. The team that drafted first overall, you would have expected a bit more when it comes to results from them at the start of the year, but still a lot of play left. But again, 13 points behind first place. Sure, you want to make the playoffs, but you want to win your conference. I think that'll be the first stamp on a bragging right for teams, is to win the conference and be able to control your own destiny heading into the playoffs.
For you so far, out of all of the teams that we've seen and all of the players, whose play do you merit so far?
I think as a team,
as an all-round team, yeah.
I think as a team, definitely Paris, and I know they're at the top and it's easy to select, but all of Fabrice Soulier's decisions so far have panned out so well. So they played very well. Elke had a great time. Davide Kitai was fantastic. Alex Luneau today. They really had a great performance. Fab Soul looking great. Mike Lea, I forgot about Mike Lea yesterday.
How could you forget about
How can I
Mike
forget
Lea?
about my fellow, my buddy
he's Canadian, I guess.
But that's right. I was being polite by not mentioning Mike. But all 4 decisions by Fab Soul for the moment have turned out great for him. We might see Fab Soul himself next week. We'll have to look at that.
Well, that would be good, in fact, because he does reside here where our TV studios are located. So, yeah, he's an easy one to rail in and try and get him to give us his thoughts on the games as they happen as well.
I think he can play next week. Maybe he'll play.
Oh, well, he can play or he can chat about it. Either or.
Do both.
Right, we're going to head back to the desk just briefly and take a look at some of the key hands that just happened.
Thanks, loungers. I'm Griffin Benger. That's Sam Grafton. We're at the end of the day. You can tell, because my voice, I'm starting to lose it. Long days here at the GPL, but really happy to do it. This was a great match between Vladimir Troyanovskiy, of course, and the philosopher, Dominik Nitsche. But really, there was one hand in particular that was pretty interesting because they both had such monster hands, and it was fun to see their thought process with like what seemed like the virtual nuts. It was interesting in the second match, for sure.
Yeah, both had very strong holdings with the King 3. I think they'll bring it up for us now on the screen, hopefully.
And here is the hand, of course, the same holdings, and was in the first level, just the second hand of the second match. And very interesting how it was played out. Some checkbacks, some big overbets on the turn, and we'll be seeing that right now.
Yeah, so Dominik checks back in position. Here he's going to be betting some bluffs, some gut shots like Jack 10, some of his weaker heart draws. But a hand like King 3, he can just check back and try and steer to showdown. When he checks back, he takes most of the flush draws out of his range. So Vladimir, when he has a strong 2 pair on the turn, can use a big sizing because he has so many bluffs. He can bluff all his 1 heart hands and some just pure air type hands. So he goes for an overbet with the King 3, quickly called by Dominik Nitsche. And then on the river, Vladimir Troyanovskiy improves to a full house. Again, he gets there with a lot of bluffs. So once again, he can pick a large sizing for value on this river. Obviously, at this point, absolutely loving life. Expected to get value at least from some aces in Dominik's range, and also any flushes he did elect to check back. So he bets for value here, hoping to get called. Dominik Nitsche, also having rivered an incredibly strong hand, now beats all the flushes in Troyanovskiy's range, of course, and any, and some full houses, of course, a hand like deuces full of 3s. So he takes his time and decides on an appropriate sizing to raise to. And the tricky thing here for Troyanovskiy is against Dominik's raising range, he doesn't actually beat that much of it. He beats 3 deuce and deuce is full if Dominik does indeed raise those. But he doesn't beat aces, kings full, and such like, and particularly all the ace-3 combos, which Dominik might elect to check back on the flop. So it's not an enviable situation for Troyanovskiy.
Yeah, and it's funny just seeing the way the reaction of the players. Vlad obviously sees, he has 3s full of kings, a massive hand heads up, but he's laughing because he knows there's no point in going all in because Dominik will never call with worse. And he actually was never going to fold, but the way that he reacted was kind of just like, oh, this is funny. Like, I actually don't beat anything. Like, I hope he has king 3 and we're chopping. So that was obviously a very interesting hand. Right here, it looks like we're going to head back to the desk, and this is my face. This is Sam Grafton. I'm Griffin Benger. We're at the end of a very long day here of heads-up matches. We opened with Randy Liu playing against Sam Trickett. Such an impressive performance by Tricky7, of course. The second matchup, we had those absolute heads-up legends in Alexandre Luneau and Dario Sammartino of the Rome Emperors. And again, at the end, this big rivalry brewing between the German and the Russian. So a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Eric and Laura are going to tell us all about tomorrow's matches.
Thank you so much. Yeah, tomorrow we have some exciting matches coming up for you. Obviously, today is all about Eurasian heads up. Tomorrow is all about American heads up. So kicking off the action, we start an hour later tomorrow. So Eastern time, 1 p.m. is our first match. And we're going to see Sao Paulo Mets face off against Montreal Nationals. So we've got Thiago Nishijima against Pascal Lefrançois, both their debuts at the GPL.
It is also the first ever non-US American matchup. So we'll have Brazil against Canada, two of the hottest poker markets in the world, by the way. Brazil and the province of Quebec in Canada, massive poker fans, just going crazy for Marc-Andre Ladouceur's Montreal Nationals. It'll be fun to see both Lefrançois and Nishijima, both third-round draft picks, go head-to-head.
So that one's kicking off 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central European time. Then a big one coming up after that. Phil Galfond for the San Francisco Rush plays New York rounder Jason Mercier. That one's at 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central European.
Laura, with all due respect to the heads-up matches we've seen, I believe this is, or has the possibility to be, the match of the year for season one. Galfond, Mercier, by far two of the hottest and most impressive American players ever. Jason Mercier, by the way, over 60 weeks, #1 on the GPI in a career. There's no one even close to him.
He's a monster.
Just a monster. And Phil Galfond would be that Jason Mercier if he played more tournaments live. But both first-round picks, both managers really putting their horses right in front. 0 points for New York on Tuesday. Let's not forget that. So there's a lot of points up for grabs here, but really exciting. I think this could be the match of the year.
McPhee was a bit of a letdown yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, it was out within 5 minutes or so in both matches, wasn't it? And finally, it is Jonathan Duhamel for the Las Vegas Moneymakers playing LA Sunset's Olivier Bousquet. That's match 20. It's at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 12 a.m. midnight Central European time. Another big one.
A lot of people in North America will be watching this, the 2010 WSOP main event champion. We're talking about the province of Quebec being hot for poker. Duhamel started this poker boom in Quebec, winning in 2010. Passionate people there. And Olivier Bousquet, known as one of the, if not the best online heads-up player in the world. Maria Ho, her hired gun, goes for at least another 6 points. Probably gunning for 9, knowing him, but Jonathan Duhamel will try to gain some points for the Las Vegas Moneymakers.
And talking of Maria Ho, the manager for the LA Sunset, she will be chatting to us live on Skype tomorrow, just before that first game kicks off at 1 p.m. So make sure to join us around 20 minutes, 30 minutes before that first match kicks off at 1 p.m.
Why is she on? Was there big news coming out of LA this week?
There might have just been a little bit of big news coming out of LA. Should we spoil it? Do you think they know?
I think they know. I think they know the bad news. See what I did there?
The real bad news, bitch.
The breaking news. Oh, you shouldn't use that word. That's our Aaron Paul, who is now a member of the Los Angeles Sunset, as is Maria Ho. So we'll be interviewing the new wildcard, Maria Ho, talking about her team and how fine they played, but also maybe a little chat about Aaron Paul now, how she got Jesse the man to be on the team.
Indeed, we've got to get that from her. So join us back here tomorrow, that first match kicking off with the Sao Paulo Mets at 1 p.m. versus the Montreal Nationals. We're going to have lots of fun. Make sure to join us. Have a great night.
Can't get enough of the GPL? Head over to globalpokerleague.com for the most complete and up-to-date standings, schedule, stats, and information on your favorite